Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live readings for chapter 23 to 27. As I realized I didn't put in the live chat into my stream. Give me a second. We're going to do that right now. We had a light delay today. We were waiting for one more voice actor to pop in that is still sound asleep. So we'll be subbing in for that character for today. But yeah, without further delay, let's get right into introductions. I know I'm late. You can all shut up. All right, let's go into intros, top to bottom. Let's start off with Beatrice.
Hello, I'm Kikid484, and I'll be voicing Beatrice as well as a narrator.
Hello, I'm Kyles, and I will be playing Amelia.
Hey everyone, I'm Super. I usually play Garfiel, but today I'll be narrating.
Hello.
Me.
Yeah, you.
For some reason, I was expecting Hollow to introduce himself. Okay, I'm Jace. I'm the sound director. Hello.
Hello, I'm Pat Kerley, and I'm a narrator, and that's all I'll ever be.
Hello, I'm Wolf, also known as WolfClaw, and I'm voicing Subaru.
All right,
Yay.
moving on.
Hello, everybody. I'm Awulu. Regulus Corneus is who I'll be acting, and I'm just along for the ride, so great to have you all here.
Hey, I'm the LightningEagle, and I am voicing Ricardo today. Have a good stream, chat.
Hey, I'm Kanda, and I'm subbing for Sirius today until Gold potentially gets back.
That's potentially. We had a long delay the last time. All right. So we're going to be reading chapters 23 to 27. Yes, 5 chapters. Going to be a long stream. Either we finish or my computer crashes. One of the two is going to happen. So we're going to get right into the chat. Just some housekeeping rules before we go into our live reading. If you want to follow along with us, there is a link in the description to a Google Drive file with an updated, revised, and proofread version of chapter 23 to 27. It includes the light novel images. So if you want to follow along, go ahead and click that link. If you guys are gracious enough to become a channel member or donate during these streams, we'll be reading them in between chapters. So we're going to basically be ignoring most of the chat and all donos and memberships until we do chapter discussions. And yeah, some of us, this is the first time we'll be hearing these chapters, and we're going to just be going over what we read in between each one for a brief 10 to 15 minutes. So I hope you guys are all ready, and I believe the first chapter we're going to be reading today is going to be narrated by the narrator, and that's all he'll ever be.
Nice.
What
was a Mac user, and that's all he'll ever be.
Not for long, lol.
We'll see.
I love you for today's gift. Thank you. I love you too. Awesome. Let's get right into. Does everybody have the chapter pulled up for 23? We're right at the bottom of the old file.
Yes.
Age 48.
48. A lot of us are tired. I am tired.
I'm very tired, actually.
All right. So without further delay, Pat, you can take it away, man. Let's get right into this chapter.
Arc 5, Chapter 23, Disrupted Situation.
So, tell me what happened in fact.
Having left the park, Beatrice waited until they had left Amelia and the others' sight, and slowed her steps, speaking up. Although she had slowed down to talk, Subaru grabbed her arm and led her forward.
Subaru?
Sorry. We have to talk when no one else is around. There are many things that I want to discuss thoroughly. But we don't have enough time. In fact, we have less than 15 minutes.
I understand, I suppose. Explain while we talk, in fact.
Beatrice marched along obediently, as Subaru turned his face away, trying to hide his anxiety. The presence of his understanding partner lightened Subaru's heart, and he carefully sorted through the thoughts swimming in his mind as he tried to relay them to Beatrice.
The witch cult will attack the square we're heading to, and we have to stop their evil deeds.
Witch cult?
Beatrice Brett caught, and she urged Subaru to continue. What troubled him were the rules and penalties for giving out information learned through return by death. Even if he had been able to safely relay tidbits to Larkins, there was no certainty that he could do so with Pyrrhixz. That was the nature of the Devil of Shadows who had hand-bound Subaru. The witch that interfered with Subaru's disclosure of information acquired via return by debt would make a decision and pass judgment only after determining not only what Subaru was divulging, but also the person he was talking to. If that was not the case, then why had Amelia's heart been crushed after the secret had been revealed? That was the only explanation he could come up with. So that was why Subaru paid careful attention to what he told Pyrrhixz. If it were just Subaru withstanding the pain, then that would be no problem. It was scary, it was, but it was not something he was unable to endure. However, if that devil's hands reached Amelia or Pyrrhixz, Subaru would be crippled by guilt. She might be forgiving to Subaru, but that which would be merciless to others.
As usual, you can't say anything, I suppose.
Sorry, I'm so unreasonable.
Fine, in fact. I'll believe it without any bias, I suppose. They're Subaru's words, so Betty will believe them, in fact.
Beatrice took Subaru's hand with her own, who bit back his own powerlessness. Saved by the warmth transmitted from that palm, Subaru searched for his next words. Serious, wrath, emotion sharing, soul washing, scrutinizing the information that could be conveyed, and he would share awareness of the danger with Pyrrhixz, little by little.
First of all, the member of the witch cult that's going to show up is the Sin Archbishop of Wrath, who is, a freak.
If that's the information that needs to be conveyed, then Betty thinks that Subaru is having bad thoughts, I suppose.
I'm just probing what's safe and what's not. Anyway, there's something very important that we'll have to deal with. Her abilities. She can control emotions. Or is it sharing senses between people?
Controlling emotions and sharing senses?
Beatrice lifted her head. She was unable to imagine it in concrete terms. Of course, Subaru could also not clearly understand the effect of that authority.
Explaining it is a little difficult. If the Sin Archbishop is overjoyed, then no matter how angry the people around her are, they will also feel happy.
I don't really understand how that's a threat, in fact.
It's this big thing where recognizing danger is impossible. No matter how dangerous the situation is, you don't get that feeling of crisis. You accept it with delight, and won't be able to correctly grasp the situation. Understand?
A crying, pleading child who did not want to die had been cheered for by the masses. That they had found joy in everything in front of them. Horrifying. Subaru was sure that in that state, he would have been delighted up until the point a knife touched him, even if it meant his head would be disconnected from his body by that blade.
I understand the sharing of emotions, I suppose. What about sharing senses, in fact?
That's not all. When someone else feels pain, I'll feel it too. Sin Archbishop's head is cut off, then the heads of everyone watching it will also be cut off.
As he explained further, his frustrations at the hopeless situation began to surface again. If you decapitated her, your head will also be chopped off. There were few abilities that would make one more hesitant to kill than that. He had been able to escape through return by death, so he could think of measures in advance now. But everyone affected by that authority before had no way of overriding that at all.
Even if you try to catch her alive, then there's the possibility you'll go crazy just by being in the vicinity. If she dies, then we'll die too. She's really the worst kind of enemy. Troublesome alive or dead.
On his second death, Subaru had been swallowed by fear and driven mad. The origin of that fear had been Luzbel, who desperately sought for help. However, on that occasion, Luzbel had continuously felt the horror that led up to that madness. It could be taken as meaning that Subaru had less mental fortitude than that boy. For Subaru, it was hard to say.
I should have been better.
because it was hard to imagine that Luzbel, who he had spoken to earlier, would be able to resist such overwhelming terror. Something other than that, just being made to share fear, must have killed Subaru in his second death. Something beyond just sharing emotions and senses. Without the knowledge of what that was, finding a strategy that could defeat Sirius would be difficult. Subaru did not continue to speak, but he kept a grip on Beatrice's hand nonetheless. Obviously, he had taken Beatrice, but he had still not found a solution. As such, Beatrice would probably be entangled in a battle with no real hope of victory. What should he do? The easiest thing to do would be to have Reinhard take Sirius alive. Considering the possibility of madness being induced, Subaru considered just summoning Reinhard like last time, give enough explanation and have him capture Sirius. Why not call Reinhard before Sirius appeared? Before the sudden attack on the square, he would talk to Larkins again, warning him of the life-threatening danger, and Reinhard would be called to deal with the crisis. Reinhard would not attack instantly, without asking for details. Even if Subaru explained why he made an emergency call, there would be at least a few minutes until Sirius would make a move.
I'm an idiot. No, I'm a moron. If Reinhard's called, and Sirius is going to react immediately, there won't be time to explain, and everything will speed up, just like last time.
Subaru needed to inform Reinhard before his battle with Sirius started. Could he do it? Subaru had no confidence that he would be able to express his thoughts in time. In that previous loop, although he had wished to tell Reinhard to capture her, his mouth had disobeyed him and joined the crowd in yelling,
"Kill her."
This was an undeniable precedent.
Subaru, there's still more bad news, in fact.
Seriously? I don't want to hear more bad news.
I understand, I suppose, but I have to tell you, Betty would be useless in a battlefield with Reinhard, in fact. I'd just be a cute little girl, I suppose.
Huh?
Beatrice spoke suddenly, her eyes downcast.
Because of his constitution, Reinhard acts as a beacon for mana, in fact. It's like it doesn't belong in this world, I suppose. The surrounding mana in the atmosphere will follow him blindly, causing damage to the environment, which becomes a shackle to him, in fact. Spirits and magic users will be unable to use mana, and I won't be able to do anything, I suppose.
What? That there should be such a thing.
Even as he said so, Subaru realized that it was nothing so unthinkable. On the day Subaru had been summoned to this world, Reinhard and Elsa had fought a battle over the insignia that qualified Emilia for the royal selection in that final loop. While treating Old Man Rom, Emilia had mentioned that if Reinhard revealed his true ability, magic would be ineffective, Subaru recalled.
If Reinhard can solve the problem, then it wouldn't matter if Betty can't do anything, in fact. But if Reinhard isn't enough...
Berko won't have the option of being useful.
The fantasy was also killed. Just his presence would cause all magic to cease functioning. Calling Reinhard would now be counterproductive. Awful, 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 awful. What a disaster. Subaru could no longer see any light. Had he been right or wrong in calling Reinhard? What about bringing Beatrice? What would be the correct procedure here? Should he ignore Sirius and give priority to the task of saving the people in the square? In that case, Sirius would only find another place to do the same thing. There was no point. As he contemplated, anxiety began to burn through Subaru's mind. Subaru expended as much effort as he possibly could in desperate search of a solution, but could find none. Even so, time ticked on mercilessly, leaving Subaru behind.
Subaru, we are at the square, in fact.
Hearing her, Subaru suddenly looked up and saw the square. The two had arrived at their destination, which would soon be marked by tragedy. No solution had been found yet. Their time limit had been cut short, little by little. The white clock tower, the crowded square. There were less than 10 minutes before the tragedy would take place. Subaru's solution was insufficient. How to solve it correctly? What to do?
Subaru, I might have come up a solution, in fact.
As Subaru's face was taut with tension, Pyrrhixz spoke up. Subaru's blank mind was startled by her sweet voice.
Came up with a solution?
I might be wrong, I suppose, but Subaru's description of that Sin Archbishop's ability sounds familiar. I'm thinking of a higher level magic called Neck, that has a similar effect, in fact.
Necked!
Necked. It was a form of magic that Subaru had experienced in the past. With Necked, magic users could share the awareness and feelings of others. Indeed, it seemed similar to Sirius's authority. While wondering why he had not noticed at first, Subaru thought out loud.
It's the same as Necked. Is there any counter for it?
In the first place, countering Neck is unnecessary, I suppose. It is intended to unite comrades and express feelings, in fact. Using Neck as a weapon seems strange, I suppose.
Pyrrhixz gave her unhappy reply to an anxious Subaru. Subaru had once reluctantly shared his vision with Julius using Necked, so that the latter could defeat Betelgeuse, countering his unseen hands by making them visible. Necked's ability was used for cooperation between allies. It was absolutely not the kind of magic that should be used to take hostages.
Normally, there's a condition for Neck, in fact. Enough trust between the two parties so that a passage of mana can be established is necessary, I suppose. The Archbishop's authority probably has the power to circumvent such a condition, I suppose.
So, her authority can forcibly achieve it. More than that.
How to deal with it, I suppose. Shamak is the obvious answer, in fact.
Shamak's son has arrived! It's too versatile!
Subaru perked up at Pyrrhizz's proposal. Shamak was an incredibly familiar magic. In painful, hard, dangerous times, in the hopeless of situations, Shamak had always faced adversaries alongside Subaru. Prior to contracting Pyrrhixz, Subaru's main source of strength were Rem, Pyrrhixz, and Shamak. And even after the destruction of his own gate, through his contract with Pyrrhixz, Shamak was still helping Subaru.
I see. Shamak, huh? Huh. If it's Shamak, then surely everything is somehow...
Subaru seems to have an unusual level of trust for Shamak, I suppose. It's the most basic of yin magic, and really not that useful, I suppose.
Even Bearco isn't allowed to badmouth Shamak like that.
What made Subaru defend Shamak to this extent, in fact?
Pyrrhixz listened to the incomprehensible ramblings with a sigh, then glanced around carefully while holding a finger up.
Shamak interrupts consciousness. It's a magic that forcibly disconnects one from their surroundings, I suppose. Subaru uses the magic strangely, in fact, but Betty doesn't have any problem with it at all.
In other words?
When that magic is cast on the crowd, everyone's mind will be blinded with Shamak, and it would be possible to escape the effects of the authority of the Sin Archbishop, in fact. Though I'm worried about whether I can stop it from affecting Subaru, I suppose.
Pyrrhixz spoke with confidence, and Subaru clenched his hands with excitement at this new glimmer of hope.
Alright. Good. I'll be depending on your magic. Then... what's next?
Aside from Reinhard, who can defeat the Sin Archbishop, in fact?
With Reinhard, Pyrrhixz would not be able to use her Shamak strategy. Therefore, he needed to be excluded from their calculations. However, on this occasion, Reinhard was perhaps the only one who could defeat Sirius.
Speaking of which, since Betty needs to use Shamak on people the moment the Archbishop is defeated, bet he won't be able to fight, in fact.
That's right. Then we're back at square one.
Without Beatrice's backing, Subaru would almost certainly be unable to defeat Wrath. Without his trump card, just his whip alone would not allow him to escape unscathed.
At that time, it seemed like there were other people who could fight in that square.
Subaru thought of the first time at the square. Upon detecting a threatening presence in the tower, several people reacted immediately. A beastman, a blindfolded woman, a serious-looking businessman, and Larkins. Excluding Larkins, how would the remaining 3 fare? Adding Subaru to their number would total 4, and would that mean that victory was in sight?
What a stupid train of thought. Asking strangers to trust me. I don't think there's anything I haven't thought of now.
That's where I come in, because I know what I'm capable of.
A sudden voice from behind pierced into his hopeless thoughts. At that all-too-familiar voice, Subaru and Beatrice looked back in surprise, standing behind the two with their hands on their hips.
Emilia-tan, why are you here?
Subaru seemed to be acting strange, so I was worried that something bad was happening. It looks like I was excluded. That's one of Subaru's bad traits.
Having been criticized, Subaru pressed his mouth shut. Astonished at Emilia's sudden appearance, he could not respond. She should not be here. He did not want her to be there. Beatrice took his place and looked at Emilia.
You should have stayed at the park, in fact. Why did you come, I suppose?
I just couldn't wait. Subaru told me to stay, but Priscilla told me otherwise.
That woman in red.
She said that if I didn't follow you, I'd certainly regret it. When I caught up and saw that nothing happened, I thought about leaving quietly. But you two seemed to be discussing something serious, so I couldn't go back.
Emilia had been influenced, and the face of the villain who had been driven her decision came to mind. Subaru gritted his teeth, mentally cursing Priscilla and her arrogant, disruptive meddling. That malicious whimsy had perfectly arranged the situation Subaru wanted to avoid the most.
Emilia-tan, I'm happy. I'm glad. So, from now on...
The witch cult will appear. I heard you loud and clear. So even if Subaru tells me to go back, I won't. I'm not just another person's business to me either.
Emilia!
He was not trying to keep Emilia out of danger for no reason. He spoke sharply, desperate to drive Emilia away. She must not meet the witch cult. Subaru could not quite articulate why, but it was not born of anything like stubborn protectiveness. He instinctively understood that it must not be allowed. Emilia absolutely could not meet the witch cult. To Emilia, that cult was a poison to be avoided. Although that held true for the majority of people born in this world, Emilia was a special case.
We'll manage something. Emilia doesn't need to be involved. This has nothing to do with you.
Even so, what if Subaru is hurt if I'm not there? I'd never let that happen. If Subaru fights, I'll fight by his side. If Subaru wants to protect something, I'll do my best. And since Subaru will certainly protect me, I also want to protect Subaru. I promised I wouldn't cry like that anymore.
Emilia spoke with an unyielding heart. In order to keep her away from danger, Subaru had to summon every drop of his courage, face adversity with a heart of steel. However, Subaru, right now, was afraid. He was terrified of fighting. 3 times. 3 times Subaru had lost to Sirius, and 3 times he had lost his life. No matter how experienced he was with death, he still died so many times in such a short span of time. Death was horrible. unacceptable, and no matter how much he experienced it, he could never grow used to it. Having his life taken was completely unreasonable. That denied his self, trampled on his existence, insulted his soul. It was something that stole from him. Although he tried to cover everything up with frivolity, Subaru could not brush off everything that affected him. Even while stubbornly maintaining that he had people he wished to protect, he could never cast off his weak heart that was afraid to die. Natsuki Subaru, no matter what, had not been able to overcome that weakness.
Subaru, you should give up, in fact.
Beatrice.
Emilia is stubborn, I suppose. She won't change her mind, in fact. Betty also understands Emilia's feelings, I suppose. Betty wants to protect Subaru the same way. Betty isn't able to deny her that, in fact.
Beatrice was the key to their strategy, and also the party who called the shots. If she waved the white flag, then Subaru would not be unable to resist. Emilia looked to Subaru sincerely, and Beatrice sweetly. Under their gaze, Subaru finally gave in.
The witch cultists will target you. If that happens, think of yourself as priority.
I understand. Even if I'm caught, Subaru will definitely save me. I believe in you, and I'll do my best.
Don't jinx it. So, how much of our conversation did you hear?
Having been accepted by Subaru, Emilia gave a relaxed smile. She touched her fingers to her lips.
I heard the gist of it. The witch cult is going to wreak havoc with a magic like Nect, which mock. During that, I have to work hard to beat that villain.
That's a childlike way of understanding it. But it works. Emilia-tan, can I depend on you?
Leave it to me. I'm plenty strong.
Emilia makes a guts pose with her hands in front of her chest. That lovely action showed a certain lack of tension, but she seemed to have understood the situation. Subaru felt restless and useless about relying on Emilia. Moreover, the timing of Beatrice's magic was difficult for him to get a grasp on, which made it another element of anxiety. But
Emilia-tan and Berko are both here, so I can't fail!
instead of feeling anxious, the boy used that to fuel his determination.
Tights. It's almost time.
Between Beatrice's proposal and Emilia's arrival, more than half of the remaining time had gone by. They would have to try their best responding to Sirius's appearance. If possible, it would be preferable to knock Sirius down from the tower while keeping Luzbel safe inside.
Emilia-tan, soon a strange person will appear on the tower. Attack them with a big shot first. Having her fall from the tower will be ideal. Afterward, Berko will prepare her spell. So, when we get the signal, we'll start the fight.
I understand. Although I do not know if things will go that smoothly. But I'll try.
Emilia's expression stiffened, and both Subaru and Beatrice nodded at each other. The plan was set.
She's here!
A figure could be seen moving about in the clock tower's window. A slender body wrapped in a black coat and a head wrapped in bandages. The ends of her chain, hanging from her hands, struck the ground with a rattling sound as the monster looked down at the square. The people there had yet to notice that anomalous presence. Sirius stood on her stage, shaking her body and opening her arms as though admiring the people, who were unprepared for that imminent threat. And then she clapped and made a sound. The eyes of the people who heard the sound were drawn to the monster, and her speech would begin. Swallowing, Subaru witnessed the arrival of the moment with a sigh. With imposing gestures, Sirius raised her chest to speak fiercely.
Alhuma!
A huge icicle appeared in front of the tower, hitting Sirius, who stood on the edge. The thick icicle, which was around the size of 5 people, struck the wall of the clock tower with a violent crash. An icicle speared through the front of the tower, and the walls split apart. Subaru's jaws dropped in amazement, seeing the tip of the icing piercing the tower.
Immediate-on?
Subaru said we needed to strike first, so I did. Did I mess up?
No! Shutsu Kashita! I just didn't expect you to attack before her introduction.
Subaru had not mentioned for her to act yet, and was surprised that Amelia had judged Sirius as a threat at a glance. Now the biggest problem would be her behavior, since Sirius had been equally unprepared. Maybe the blow had even taken her out. Moreover, the panic crowd seemed to be entirely fine, so perhaps Sirius had indeed been incapacitated before her sense sharing had been activated. That had been entirely thanks to Amelia's great contribution.
Bearco, what do you think?
First of all, think of a way to address the people around us who are misunderstanding, in fact.
As Beatrice's surprise turned to pride, Subaru wanted to ask whether they had gotten serious. Amelia surveyed the destruction of the tower while Subaru slowly turned to face the uneasy crowd surrounding them. The Beastman and the blindfolded woman were there. How unfortunate. They were the people that Subaru had considered as possible allies in this battle.
Well, what do I do now? Explain that we didn't mean any harm?
You better do that, Subaru.
While Subaru scratched his head, pondering the explanation, Amelia suddenly grabbed his shoulder, placing herself in front of Subaru, who fell down on the floor. In that moment, a crack sounded through the air, and a blue sword of ice appeared in Amelia's hand. She assumed a battle-ready posture, facing down the crowd, aiming the tip of the sword towards them.
Amelia-tan? You don't have to go that far.
Not that. Look closely, Subaru. Their eyes look insane.
Huh?
Scared by Amelia's suddenly firm voice, Subaru surveyed the crowd around him and could not help but exclaim. Like Amelia had said, their eyes held no trace of sanity. The people around them were tomato red from the neck, the blood vessels in their faces on the verge of bursting. Bloodshot eyes glaring at Subaru's group. Rather than doubting their sanity, Subaru saw they were indubitably full of mad fury.
Bearco! What about Shamak?
It failed, I suppose.
What?
This magic is fundamentally different from net. No, it's evil, in fact. This is nothing like magic, I suppose. A curse. It is magic, in fact.
Beatrice raised her voice in anger, and Subaru could only answer with a frown. He was not sure of the specifics, but Beatrice's Operation Shamak had not worked. He understood the issue but had no solution, and there were further problems. Then, the masses had been completely engulfed by madness.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks. It
Stinks,
stinks.
stinks,
It
it
stinks.
stinks,
It stinks.
It was a terrible, vicious sound, tenaciously cursing everything in the world. With the sound of detonation, the wall of the clock tower collapsed. A crack ran through the icicle that had been embedded into the tower, and it shattered to pieces. Shimmering, the ice crystallized in the sun, accompanied by the faint sound of footsteps. The footsteps of an abomination. She was not unhurt. Half of her bandages wrapped around her face were stained with blood, which also dripped from her left arm and her chain. She had a terrifying appearance. Amelia's premeditated attack had no doubt played an effect. Only, it had also caused something undesirable.
Disgusting. The stench of that woman, filthy and detestable. The stench of that half-devil who stole my husband from me. The stench of maggots, endless filth. Hate. I hate it so much. Burning it to cinders isn't enough.
What are you saying?
And that other woman. Obviously not her, but she has such a similar stench. How shameless! The stench of rotting insects! How shameful! How rancid! How vile! I hate you!
The anomalous woman clutched her bleeding head with a harsh cry. Spit flew from her mouth as she ruthlessly stomped her feet. Subaru knew this odd behavior. It was wild as ever, but its direction was obviously different.
My! Are you testing the love for my husband's spirit? For me, were you not satisfied with taking my husband from me? You half-witch whore!
Gritting her teeth, she issued a wrathful cry as she leapt forward. Sirius, who had fallen from the tower, folded her arms overhead, and red flames sparked into life. They sprayed from both arms, and a line of flame formed as she landed in the square. Exercising her limbs, armed with her flame, the monster raised her head. Emilia held her sword of ice ready as she stood in front of Subaru and Pyrrhixz, guarding them. Swinging her gaze back and forth, Sirius yelled with a furious voice.
I am Synod Bishop of the Witch Cult, representing wrath!
Red flames gushing forth, she bathed the crowd in heat as she raised her arms to the heavens. In a frenzied crisis completely different from the situation Subaru had expected, the madwoman introduced herself.
Sirius Romani Conti! Fucking half-devil in spirit! I'll crush your corpses and scatter your ashes at my husband's tomb!
Okay. Jesus Christ, Kanda,
Holy
good
shit,
fucking
Kanda.
job!
What the
What the fuck?
Holy fucking shit, dude.
There's one thing.
Kanda.
There's one thing I want to. Okay,
My
okay.
hands are reverberating.
Kanda, you completely slayed
What
it, man.
the fuck? Okay, there's one thing, and it
Fucking
might just be on
11
my
out of
end.
10
It might be on my
IGN.
end. Okay. Was he cutting out at the beginning for you guys too, or was it just my Mac being shit?
It was very slightly. It wasn't much.
Okay,
I didn't
okay,
really notice
okay.
it, so I'm
Holy
good.
fuck, dude.
Dude, I was so immersed by that. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
I believed your anger
I was-
completely.
Wait,
That
Kanda, are
chapter was
you
amazing.
are you on
everyone.
your fucking your pro mic or your other mic? What mic are you using?
Yeah, I'm on my pro mic. It's because I was screaming so loud.
Dude, that was oh my god, that was so fucking
Kanda,
good.
that was fucking
Holy
amazing.
shit.
Someone in the comments said, Jesus, Sirius sounds so scary. You completely...
Light novel illustration unlock Pog.
Oh, that illustration is
Yay.
fucking terrifying as well.
Hello to all
One,
224 people. We haven't had this many people since we did the first live rating, so welcome everyone.
I think this is the perfect time for Kanda to show off his fucking amazing VA skills. What the fuck?
The fucking Jace, the music choice. Jace.
Jace,
Holy fuck.
that was fucking amazing as well.
Very
What was that
nice.
last track? Because it sounds... it's not
Hymn of
Sloth.
Despair
I
and
know it's not.
Atonement.
Mhm.
That's it. Him in Despair of Atonement.
I love that track. It's one of my favorites.
It's so
Oh my
good.
god. I'm sorry about the audio quality when I went to make coffee. I figured out that with this setup I have, I need to go onto my other software that I use to capture my desktop audio, and then I have to adjust it there. So, yeah. Midway through. But thanks for the heads up, Wooloo. When I came back, I wouldn't have adjusted it if you didn't let me know.
Anytime.
Thanks, man. Thank
It
you
was
for the
just getting to
vibe.
that point where it was hard to hear the narrator, so I was like,
Really?
we should lower the music a little bit.
Okay. Before we go any further, we got 3 donations. F1 Garo. I clean my apartment while listening to these streams, and my apartment has been cleaner than ever. Please keep them coming, uwu. With the 2769.
Aw.
Then we have Coco-chan, who donated $1. And I want to say I know what this kanji is, but I don't.
I can't.
Time for Google Translate.
help you, but
You want me to?
yeah.
Yeah, I can hear Lightning. I'll send you this.
221 viewers. You guys are
Yeah.
222 at Kanda. Holy shit.
A new member to the
Apple
Synarch Bishops has
Handler,
been
welcome
added.
to the Synarch Bishops. And then Nick Tram with the $5. So good. Indeed. Holy fuck. Okay, so before we go on, Kanda, with your mic, if you're super loud, does it cut out? Because I know you have a lot of yell lines coming.
Yeah. I can like adjust the gain a little bit, but hopefully it won't do it.
Maybe Hollow could turn you up a bit slightly so you can shout a bit quieter.
No. I'm whenever he talks or whenever Wooloo's talking, I'm literally on the input setting that's their direct audio, and I'm manually dipping it or raising it because it's like kind of a wave. Yeah.
Actually professional. That's
Coco.
Professional moves right there.
Coco with the $10. Coco, I told you not to donate on this stream. Coco with $10. Amazing VA. I have physical goosebumps. Dude.
Aww.
Kanda, holy fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Coco wants to give Kanda a cookie.
Oh yeah, we need to give Kanda a cookie.
Kanda a cookie.
Kanda is MVP of the chapter.
They're cookie emotes, chat. Kanda a cookie.
What's up, Kanda?
Give me Oreos, I suppose.
Give you Oreos.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, but this chapter, we can discuss it a bit because I know Wooloo and Kanda need to. Oh, and you, everybody's fucking yelling in the next chapter.
Oh wow!
Christ!
Prepare yourself,
Let's wake
chat.
up the whole neighborhood, everyone.
Oh yeah, even me a bit. Yay!
Oh yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me turn Kanda up a bit.
Yeah, my hands were like literally reverberating and vibrating the whole time.
Oh my! Were you like trying to get into character that much? Like, dude, that was good.
I was like, I felt like I was gonna. No, not the first line, but after a couple, I felt like I was gonna pass out. But...
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh, careful.
Oh, be careful, Kanda, man.
Kanda, you're good though, because you know the next one has a lot of like. Well, not the next two have 3.
A lot.
Yes, the next few have quite
I think
a
we
bit.
should extend the breaks a little bit after the next one as well.
We can always see. I'm free for all of today. The main thing is like not infringing on your time. We're doing 5 of these. We have 4 more left, so I don't mind.
As long as we take a bit longer breaks than usual, I'll be fine.
Okay, yeah.
I have
Go.
no light, so
Let's do a
it's fine.
13-minute. Let's do a 13-minute.
Did you eat breakfast yet, Kanda? Eat
I
breakfast.
have oatmeal every morning.
Okay, good.
We are brothers.
So
We are literally brothers.
Protagonist thing where everyone's like, Wakanda, don't die, and then you're like, I gave my last line, and he like falls around.
Can I also
Wakanda,
just say that
no!
Jace? I also just say that like the music was on point. Also.
Yeah,
Jace.
Jesus
Thank
fucking
you.
Christ.
The sound narration
Thanks.
was fucking great.
Top tier.
I'm really enjoying playing Subaru in these chapters because you're seeing us sign like a
Oh my
really
God.
nervous and anxious
Wolf.
Subaru.
I was freaking out because you started whispering, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" and I like ran back to my computer.
Sorry
Like,
about
raised-
that. It
No,
was,
you're
it was
fine.
in character for me to whisper in that moment.
No, I know.
so-
I completely forget what happens in most of these chapters. So I was like following along on one tab, and then another tab has OBS, other one has I Show You, the other one has Discord. So I was just pulling and
Yeah, but
dipping.
throughout that entire chapter, I was doing loads of hand gestures and clenching my fist to get in character.
Oh, Peku, welcome
I
to
mean,
Royal
good.
Guards. Awesome. 219 in a discussion portion of this. What the fuck?
Oh, sick.
Nice.
Yo,
Oh,
Kanda, your
Gold's
fucking VA was so fire, everyone just joined.
Yep.
Yeah.
For real though.
Oh, check Gold is here, guys.
Swear to God.
Now.
I mean,
Good morning.
is he in the call? No. Kanda, do you want to do the next
Not
chapter
right
too?
Yeah, I'll do the next chapter. Let's start it right now. Hurry up, go, go, go.
Let's go!
I don't want to start
Oh
if you're
my
gonna
God.
die. If I hear you hit your desk midway through stream, we're stopping.
It's
just-
for me.
It's just like I hate you. It's just
And then
Nah, I'll
Gold
be
steps
good.
in.
I'll be good with this chapter. Gold can do the ones after.
all right, Kanda.
Stay alive.
I'm gonna be monitoring all of your audio, so just go nuts, and I'll dip it or raise it as much as I can. Somebody at
All
Gold
right.
and tell him we're midway through a chapter, and we'll at him when he can join the next one.
Yeah, if I start to cut out a lot, just
And then we just
mute
never add
me.
him.
Just mute me because I probably
No.
won't be seeing it, and you
Cool.
can have Gold take over.
I kind of, we'll fix it midway through. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
If we need to take is there an asterisk break in this next chapter? Does everybody have
I'm not sure.
24 open right now?
I do, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me just see if there's an asterisk break real quick, and if there is, we can use that as a reset point.
I will double check, but I'm pretty sure this one does.
Oh my god, we're about to hit higher than our first. If we break 258,
Holy
that's
shit.
higher than our first reading.
Come on, chat, you can do it.
Oh my god.
No, guys, there are no asterisk breaks because this is
Oh,
complete
fuck.
Oh,
nonsense.
hey, Gold.
Go
Let's
even
go.
further beyond.
Is Gold in the call, or?
He's awake. He's here.
Oh, no, yeah, he's awake, but,
Gold, you come
Trying to
back to
message
us.
yeah, just somebody let him know that we're gonna start midway reading.
Yeah.
What we could do, we could have Gold do all the monologues, and we can have Kanda do all the
I
yelling.
think that would get
Up
a bit
here he is.
confusing.
Oh, here he is.
Hi, Gold, good morning. We're gonna start a new
Hi,
chapter.
Gold.
We have Kanda doing a serious, but you can do serious next chapter. Love you, okay?
Okay.
Good morning, Gold.
You're right, Gold.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu. Are you ready to scream in the next chapter, Gold?
Yeah, okay, sure.
The enthusiasm, Gold. I'm
Feel the
loving it.
energy.
Oh wait, Wooloo's BRBing. Do we need Wooloo? I don't think we do for this one, right?
Till the end of the chapter.
Wow, spoilers.
Bruh.
Oh, I'm just gonna be gone for like 5 seconds, really.
Okay.
Okay. Pog.
Okay. Let's get right into it.
Let's see.
Nika, nika, nika.
Nika, nika, ni. Oh god, please
Gosh.
kill me. Just end me.
No.
Was that Kanda? I can't tell
Yeah.
anymore.
Of course it was me.
All right.
Who else would it be?
Super.
Right now?
We're on 24 right now.
We're going back into the next chapter, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are
I'm
you all
good.
ready? Because if Super is
Yeah.
ready, if seriously Kanda's ready, then yeah.
Yep.
I'm just I don't have any lines. I'm just gonna be monitoring audio. All right. Yeah. Whenever you're ready, Super, just give us a heads up, and I will mute my Mac audio so you don't hear the fan dying, and we'll get into next chapter.
Okay. Arc 5, Chapter 24. Resolution of Ice and Fire. With flames of rising crimson on her arms, Sirius's shrieking was infernal in nature. The reason why that was felt even through the bandages was her eyes, dominating by rage completely out of the ordinary. Those light crimson eyes, normally so clear they seemed capable of sucking in people, were now glaring at Subaru and the others with hatred, tinged by the red-hot blaze on her arms. No, I was not quite right, because...
Stinks. 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 Stinks.
Stinks.
Sirius had not registered Subaru's presence. She merely glared with a passionate hatred at the two standing in front of Subaru. That is, Emilia and Beatrice.
What's up with her? She's not the same as before.
Subaru could not hide his wavering confusion at Sirius's rage. In the short span of time since he had encountered her, Subaru had met a relatively normal Sirius 3 times. Among those encounters, although Sirius had not been a person that followed common sense, she had not been someone irrational, overrun by rage. In fact, she had always been attempting to justify her claims to impose on others. So, the Sirius in front of them was completely foreign. She had lost her rationality and fallen prey to rage. Putting it simply, she now seemed a perfect fit for her title as Rat's representative.
I could keep burning and burning you, but it wouldn't be enough. Like maggots, like flies. How much do you hate me? Even in my saddest days, am I not allowed the freedom of mourning?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Emilia responded fearlessly to Sirius's enraged allegations, and stayed fearless at Sirius's fierce reactions. She pointed the tip of her sword of ice at the crowd behind Sirius.
If you feel angry at me, I'll hear you out. After all, the sudden provocation came from us. It's natural that you're angry. However, this has nothing to do with the other people here. Please liberate them.
That's the wrong attitude! If you want to let someone go, do it right! It's natural that I'm angry! Then apologize to me! Apologize, repent, crawl on the floor and cry, and beg for forgiveness! Then let me shoot flames into your ass and scorch your internal organs away!
Having my organs burned would be troublesome, so let's settle this simply.
Sirius tilted her head upon hearing Amelia's low voice. Amelia immediately twisted her upper body slightly and darted forward. Her pale wrists wielded her sword of ice as if they were weightless. The sun glistened off the sharpened tip of the sword as she drove it into Sirius's shoulder.
Amelia-ton?
Subaru's exclamation overlapped with Sirius's snarl. Facing that swing, Sirius immediately lifted her left wrist, bringing flames to the swords. However...
Fucking half-devil!
Please don't say that anymore. It feels dirty.
Amelia's sword, although bathed in Sirius's flame, did not vaporize into air. The pale tip of the sword did not lose against the heat, and met Sirius's burning left wrist. Only, Sirius's chain had also been wrapped around it. With a high-pitched noise, ice sword and flaming chain collided with a brilliant flash of mana. After only a brief contest, Amelia's sword shattered with a crisp snap.
You... damn it.
Looking at the ice sword, reduced to a mere handle, Sirius gleefully attempted to slam her arm against Amelia. The chain, tinged with the heat of fire, would burn wounds onto those it touched. And so, Amelia's beautiful face was wounded. But on the verge of that happening,
Ah!
there was a shout that did not fit the scene. And this time, Sirius's wrist was struck. Amelia's sword of ice had deflected her.
Just die already!
Sirius's cries of wrath pierced the air as she swung both arms over her head. The center of the area she was targeting was occupied by Amelia. Amelia's ice blade extended at the hilt, its shape having been changed into that of a hammer. Sirius met its blow with both hands, retreating only to be pursued by Amelia.
Ah! Ah! Yeah!
Disgusting! Half-devil! Maggot! Fly! Insect! Loathsome bug!
Through use of centrifugal force and control over her body, Amelia demonstrated an unimaginable show of close-quarters combat. Against that mallet of ice, the flame-wielding Sirius had been reduced to defense. Looking at Amelia's one-sided attack, Subaru, as a third-party observer, judged that she would triumph. Even so...
This isn't the time in a trance! No! Amelia!
Subaru, you can't be distracted right now, in fact.
If Amelia killed Sirius, the last death would certainly repeat itself. Death would be spread to everyone in the vicinity. Although Subaru had foreseen this crisis, Beatrice quickly scolded him. Subaru, wondering what had happened, followed Beatrice's gaze.
Dirty insect.
Crap.
The members of the crowd behind Sirius were all flushed with anger. The crowd looked at Subaru and Beatrice and made cursing gestures reminiscent of Sirius. In fact, they were completely sharing her wrath. The wave of anger was focused on Subaru.
It's not just sharing feelings, but also doing things like brainwashing a crown into acting on her own will.
Identifying the situation is good, I suppose. If a solution doesn't exist, then all we can do is escape, in fact.
As Subaru groaned, considering his troubles, Beatrice immediately jumped onto his back. The crowd advanced towards Subaru, supporting that light body with his hands.
Amelia! Help stall for us!
I won't be too messy about it.
Receiving her strong reply, Subaru broke into a sprint, fleeing from the crowd. Fortunately, the pace of the masses who had lost their rationality was far from normal. They chased Subaru with hands outstretched, empty wrath in their gazes, looking not unlike zombies. The main difference was that rather than wanting to eat Subaru, they wished to rip and tear him limb from limb with their bare hands.
If we keep stalling like this, someone could come.
Even if someone comes, without fighting out the conditions of victory, it would be meaningless, in fact. even if Reinhard comes, would he be able to solve this, I suppose?
In short, our worries won't end, even if he comes.
In any case, the one who could summon Reinhard, Larkins, was presently part of the crowd threatening Subaru. Face colored bright red. He was one of the people most motivated to push forward, trying to be the first to reach Subaru. Maybe it was the influence of his own mental image of Subaru, formed even before Sirius shared feelings with him.
We have to think of something!
Dirty insects.
A man leapt at Subaru, who ducked his head and threw himself past his opponent's arms, grabbing one of them. Before sweeping the man off his feet and sending his body flying, the masses showed no consideration to the tumbling man until he knocked them over. Turning from this bowling-like scene, Subaru spoke.
They're so angry that they aren't thinking at all.
However, that isn't what I would recommend, in fact. In such an atmosphere, they probably won't hesitate on trampling on our friends accidentally, I suppose.
That won't do!
He did not want any sacrifices. The reason why Subaru fought so hard for so many was precisely this. Of course, Subaru understood that there were things that he could not reach. There were many things he wanted to protect. However, there was a limit to what he was able to protect. Of course, Subaru was not an omnipotent being.
However, I'm the one who chooses that limit!
That's Betty Subaru, in fact!
Hearing the greatest possible support from his back, Subaru drew his whip.
I'll save as many lives as I can, so please forgive me for any injuries.
Those were Subaru's feelings. Aiming at the feet of the crowd, his whip launched through the air. With the crack of a small thunderbolt, the whip hit the stone pavement. Although it was not lethal, it was still a weapon, and, when wielded mercilessly, it could incapacitate an opponent if used with all its might. If maybe, after witnessing that power, the mass of people would be cowed into retreating.
It won't go that smoothly.
Then, there was no other way. Subaru swept his whip through the crowd, this time targeting the leading figure. A medium stature, light blue hair, sharp eyes. Wasn't that Larkins? Attacking people who he knew would make Subaru feel sad.
Although this aches my heart, I can't let myself be torn apart either. Sorry, Jin!
I'm not Jin.
Subaru lashed his whip at Larkins' feet and yanked upwards. His body spun in a half circle, and he caught the people surrounding him as he fell. After doing that, Subaru moved himself to the left of the crowd, guiding the footsteps of those following him to another route, so that the ones who had been knocked down would not be trampled underfoot.
Right. They can't think. In that case, as long as I...
Just as he was about to say, stall long enough, Subaru felt a chill rise on his back. To Subaru, that chill was like the imposing intimacy of his gloomy lover. Even if he were reluctant to meet her, she gave Subaru the help he needed most. They had that kind of complex relationship. In other words, that was the breath of death.
Ah! You maggot!
A large blade whistled towards Subaru's head, accompanied by a shrill wind. The Beastman had leapt from the crowd, aiming at Subaru's neck. Although he had prominent pointed canine ears, his nose and mouth seemed to resemble the cunning charm of a fox. The half-fox, using his white tail as a brace, was unaffected by Subaru's tricks as he took multiple other slashes in an attempt to separate Subaru's head from his body.
Bearco!
Shamok!
In a serious confrontation, Subaru could be cut down in only 5 seconds. In a flash, Subaru had determined the difference in their power, and called Beatrice's name. She immediately realized Subaru's intention and cast a shamak, which enveloped the Beastman's face. His slender body and large sword were also engulfed in the dark fog, stripping his combat effectiveness away.
Does that cut off the link with the others?
There's nothing to that effect, I suppose. Even take the fighting, the link itself did not cut off, in fact. Most likely, that curse will stop only taking effect after that freak dies, I suppose.
What do we do?
Betty is thinking hard, in fact.
Solving that mystery was a task best left up to Beatrice. So the only thing that Subaru could do was to give Beatrice ample time to survey and think. And to keep the brainwashed masses from disturbing her.
And on Amelia-tan's side?
Subaru turned his gaze, worried about Amelia, who was still busy confronting Sirius. During this year, Amelia had dedicated her time both to learning about politics and combat. Her combat effectiveness was much higher than Subaru's, and she was motivated. Even so, Subaru was worried about Amelia. Not because he thought he was better, but because Subaru was a man and Amelia was a woman. Nothing more. Most people would probably dismiss that worry as meaningless. And that was because...
Ah! Yeah! Ah!
Amelia was shouting slightly listless battle cries accompanying her onslaught. But Sirius was ignoring all of them. Amelia spun around, her twin ice swords slashing towards Sirius, who whipped her burning chain through the air and knocked the blade away while cursing angrily. With a crash, the ice fragmented into powder and dispersed. But, bending down, Amelia pushed an ice spear upwards, its power sending Sirius flying away. She was making use of her huge store of mana, forging weapons of ice meant to be destroyed shortly after being used. Subaru had named this combat technique Ice Brand Arts, and in honor of the ephemeral beauty of shattering ice, which reminded him of an ice fairy of fantasy. The wreckage of Smash Ice illustrated the intensity of the fierce battle between Amelia and Sirius. In that ballroom of scattered ice, the fiery heated battle between the two warriors wielding opposing arms of frost and fire.
Ah!
Amelia spun around, twirling her spear at Sirius, knocking her back. She immediately followed up with another blow, lashing out with the tip of her spear. Sirius nimbly twisted her body in the air, avoiding her strike and capturing the spear in her grip.
Blazing, boiling, burning, my heart is trembling! This is wrath!
Ah!
As if echoing her call, the intense heat redoubled its efforts. Amelia's spear was instantly turned into a spear of fire, and Amelia involuntarily released it because of the heat. Immediately after, Sirius, holding the spear, landed and attacked at once.
Your dirty amethyst eyes, your dirty bell-like voice, your dirty silky silver hair, your dirty fair skin, your dirty cute face! Those all exist purely to seduce men! Ah, such lust! You bitch! You dirty whore! Just die! You just want to tempt men? You want to take that person from me? You filthy slut! You disgusting half-devil!
As a wave of heat passed over Amelia's squinted eyes, she once again created a blade of ice. It met the spear of fire, which had broken into a three-pronged spear, head-on. With an intense grinding sound, the madwoman and Amelia exchanged gazes.
My eyes, my voice, my silver hair, all those came from my favorite person, from the most beautiful person in the world. Treating them like they're dirty infuriates me!
Fury? Did you just say fury? Don't kid with me! Fury is mine! It's the most precious thing that I received from that person! This duty and the name are all gifts from that person! To, without authorization, without permission, to take that away from me? I won't allow it! Won't!
As her speech came to an end, Sirius's attitude changed dramatically as she cried out in grief. She caught the spear in her grip and snapped it, driving the flames into Amelia. In response, Amelia created another pair of ice swords. But had Amelia been affected by Sirius's cries? Her face, which had previously worn a strong sense of purpose, seemed to have slackened.
This is bad.
After catching a glance of the side of Amelia's face, Subaru's instincts began to scream of bad news. There was no basis, but Subaru was sure. Amelia's expression had changed, or rather, her feelings towards Sirius had changed. No matter how kind-hearted she was, there was no way she would be so easily moved by emotion mid-battle. Before the brawl had begun, there had not even been any kind of conversation to make her feel any emotion either. And if she was reacting the way she was, nevertheless.
Amelia's being affected by Sirius's power.
However, she had not immediately fallen into the palm of Sirius's hand. Amelia, currently in a defensive battle, was still matching Sirius blow for blow. She was not as far gone as the crowd, and was just as lovely as usual. Then, inspecting the situation...
When Sirius first appeared, why weren't Amelia, Beatrice, and I affected by her emotional link?
Amelia and Beatrice had resisted her power just as Reinhard had. Was there any individual trait? Or something similar which was shared between all of them? Subaru's initial assumption had been that Reinhard had been able to resist it just because he was Reinhard, and discarded thinking any further about it. But if there was in fact a specific reason, then he could start hypothesizing. Subaru, who had fallen prey to Sirius's authority 3 times already, was now able to resist her like this. That was also something to take into consideration, if that was the key to a breakthrough.
Bear?
Subaru!
The moment Subaru had wanted to convey his newly found realization, an anxious cry echoed in his ears. As Subaru's eyes widened, and something collided with his right side. His body folded into the shape of a K from the power of the blow. And Subaru immediately hopped to the left, attempting to lessen its impact. As he coughed up stomach acid, he attempted to check the damage the blow had caused. The blindfolded woman, moving like a shadow, had suddenly approached him. That defensive-looking woman had delivered a rather piercing blow with her palm into Subaru's side.
Subaru! Don't die, I suppose!
Even I wouldn't have reached a game over from that. That hit was super effective!
Although his ribs ached, and Subaru judged that his other bones and internal organs had not been harmed, he judged that it was nothing too serious, as long as there was no internal bleeding.
This guy, and that guy too. Why are these enemies so troublesome?
Either Subaru looks unreliable just because the enemies are strong, or because he himself is too weak, in fact.
That's true. You!
His whip bounced as it chased her feet, and as she turned her attention to below her, Subaru tossed a handful of grit in her face. Although it did not affect her blindfolded eyes, it distracted her enough for Subaru to throw himself at her shoulder, knocking her over.
My lack of fighting strength seems to have come in handy. If the attack had been serious, probably would have died on the spot.
Although I can't say that's something I accept eagerly, that works, since we have more trouble coming up, I suppose.
Beatrice reiterated her knowing remarks about Subaru, who breathed a sigh of relief after defeating the blindfolded woman. He tilted his head in a gesture of,
I'm not listening.
As Beatrice frowned and gestured with her chin. She indicated the large waterway connected to the square.
You're kidding me.
Subaru moaned as he caught sight of the waterway, where another gathering of enraged people had emerged.
Betty thinks that they heard the commotion and rushed over to see what's happening, in fact.
They entered the scope of her power and were swallowed. Are you serious? Is her ability a range type?
Panic, fear, madness would be transmitted from person to person. The sharing feeling by Sirius had brought about precisely a result that reflected that phenomenon.
So that was it.
The magnitude of her threat was worse than even Betelgeuse's.
The more you try to flee, the more victims she finds. How can that be stopped?
However, something is off about this entire situation, I suppose. Subaru knocked over that woman, and I cast Shamak on that foxman. Coupled with how the Higai on the Shinkarahori's didn't appear on anyone else, in fact.
Because the situation was there, Subaru did not correct Beatrice, mistakenly calling Tonjinkan Shikarahoi. And beyond that, the details that Beatrice had just pointed out could serve as a basis for speculating on the condition of Sirius's emotional link.
Are we going to have to defeat that whole crowd too?
If Subaru has the fighting ability to do that, then we can go for it, I suppose. Betty Shamat can also lend a hand in stripping their consciousness away, in fact.
Although a cruel means, that had indeed been Subaru's initial plan. He could avoid putting himself through unnecessary worry. Subaru needed to avoid the expansion of such a disastrous situation. Now, to act on Beatrice's proposal.
Amelia!
Subaru's attention was diverted to Amelia's pained cry. He turned and saw her lying on the slate ground of the square, with Sirius, who was brandishing her flaming wrists, looking down at her.
Growing, love culminates. That quantity is power. There is love for all, everyone. Human beings love each other and become one. They can share thoughts, they can share wishes, and be it joy or sadness, they can talk to each other and share their feelings. In that case, this is the inevitable result. The half-devil isn't included in the bond of love and should just disappear like a crushed insect.
Amelia, who had held the initial advantage, had gradually lost her footing until the two were about even. As time dragged on, had Sirius's strength increased, or had Amelia's strength decreased? Whatever the case, Amelia looked upwards at Sirius, breathless, regret displayed on her face.
Something's off. What you're saying is right, but it somehow feels wrong too. Why?
Because you go against the truth! You are a dirty half-devil who cannot understand love, and you will live and die not knowing love. The existence of a half-devil is evil. Even your birth, even the meeting of your father and mother were wrong. The union of trash and insects birthed an unholy piece of shit that needs to end its existence right here!
At the end of that unbearable tirade of abuse, Amelia's eyes changed. Kind and gentle as she was, Amelia could not tolerate such harsh words, which demeaned not only her existence, but even her parents' meeting. Biting her lip, Amelia pushed against the slate ground, leaping to her feet, her enraged gaze trained on Sirius. A silvery shimmer gathered in her hand. Her sword slashed through Sirius's coat, splitting it wide open. Amelia, in her rage, would stop for nothing as she took another swing at Sirius, her sword of ice reaching the thin body in front of her. Subaru saw the chained girl and froze. A blonde, curly-haired girl, bound in the same manner that Lucebelle has been, blood pouring from her mouth, sobbed. Her small body was firmly bound to Sirius's slender body. Tina. The name flashed through Subaru's memory.
That wrath you have is scary.
Subaru, who had noticed the girl, and Amelia, who saw the girl's tears, were overtaken by rage. And at that moment, Sirius gave her most ferocious smile yet, as a wave of heat blew Amelia's body away with alarming momentum. The explosion whistled through the air as Amelia was knocked backwards. She flew across the stone, tumbling until it coming to a stop at the very center of the square. Amelia moaned as she writhed in pain. Sirius gazed at Amelia as she clapped, her flames burning so high they could be seen from a long distance.
An insect shouldn't give me such a sweet passion. It's incredibly disgusting. Well, thank you. My apologies.
With her wrists held over her head, Sirius's whirlpool of flame roared once again. Even steel would melt with nary a touch of that flame. If it touched her directly, then not even a shadow of Amelia would be left behind. She would be completely burned from the world. If he did not act right now, he would not be able to save her. And not saving Amelia was unacceptable. Subaru clearly understood all this, and yet...
Move already, feet!
Subaru's feet were trembling with something like fear, leaving him unable to walk. Subaru's inaction had begun the moment he had laid eyes on the terrified girl that was bound to Sirius. Beatrice, on his back, was similarly unable to move. Feelings that could be shared with spirits. Idiocy. That was not the time to think about that.
Emilia.
His throat vibrated, but he could not even call the name of the girl who he loved so deeply. Emilia certainly could not have heard him. Emilia's thoughts as she lay on the stone floor, unable to move, watching the imminent blaze unfold before her very eyes. Even those were scorched by unforgiving fire, leaving them forever a mystery. Terrifying heat baked the slate ground, and, as the heat wave became the impact, the world was dyed a brilliant gold. Faced with that fantastical scene, Subaru's knees shook, and he collapsed on the spot.
Subaru.
Beatrice, still clinging to his back, called to Subaru in a stuttering voice. Subaru could not respond. His line of sight remained fixed on the ground beneath him, as he refused to face reality, swallowed by an overwhelming dread. Right now, if he looked up, he would lose to fear. No. The heart he had long lost to fear would shatter and break. If he had to see where Emilia had turned to ash, if he had to see where Emilia had vanished from the world, then...
Subaru! Subaru!
Even so, Beatrice continued desperately calling Subaru's name. His head was knocked several times, but Subaru could only embrace his horrified and timid heart, shaking his head slowly. It was impossible. Even that monster was standing right in front of him. Subaru.
I caught up.
However, the moment he heard that sound, Subaru's heart shook off the fear. Rather than fear the sight in front of him, he feared being left in the dark. Raising his head, he looked to the direction of the sound, the place where Emilia had been incinerated. There, a man stood. Smoke rose from the charred rocks, which still crackled with heat. In the midst of that destruction, the man assumed a leisurely pose. There, in his arms.
Emilia.
In the man's arms, there rested a girl who should have disappeared in the flames. Although she had passed out from exhaustion, she was physically unhurt. Emilia had lost consciousness from the accumulation of exhaustion and fear, but she was peacefully resting, safe and sound.
You.
The person who had suddenly appeared and saved Emilia's life. His horrified heart was denying him a celebration of Emilia's safety. Subaru involuntarily voiced his wavering thoughts with a similarly trembling voice. The man who heard and turned around. Then, he spoke.
I came to meet her, so it's great that I was able to catch up.
To meet? What's that supposed to...
Isn't it a matter of course that I come to meet a woman who I intend to take as my bride?
At that abrupt utterance, Subaru fell speechless. At Subaru's stiff lack of breath, the man, a white-haired youth, gave off an easygoing smile.
I am a Sin Archbishop of the Witches' Cult, representing greed. Regulus Cornelius.
It did not intend to boast, but rather speak for granted facts.
As promised, I'm here to take her as my 79th wife.
And so ends off the 24th chapter of Arc 5. Good fucking job, everyone. Poggers.
Fucking brilliant chapter! Well done, everyone!
Well done.
Great evil laugh at the end.
Oh my god, the
Great.
Regu theme though. Holy shit again.
I forgot
I
to
love
ask
the
if you were
Regulus
okay
theme
if
so
I
much. Oh
improv.
my god, it sounds so cool.
That was
Also-
good.
Yeah,
That was
Hollow,
good.
are you cool if I improv like a few like
Yeah,
creepy
go for
voices
it.
here and there?
Go for it.
Nice, nice.
Thank you to everyone in the stream. We hit an all-time viewer high for the readings and for the channel. 262 live viewers. Fucking hell.
Aw, hell
Holy
yeah.
That
shit.
went even further beyond.
Thank you for all coming out. But good job,
Ayo.
everyone. Ayo.
Who's gonna narrate next chapter? Because
I
I'm
think it's
down
Pat.
for it.
Kanda, seriously though, you are completely slaying it as serious though.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
We have
I guess
two
I'm not needed
series.
here.
No,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
fine.
leaving.
Fine gold.
No, you're backing gold.
Are
Is
both
there
very
like
good qualities from both voices.
is there like a narrative reason for Pat narrating?
Do you
If
want to
there's
just
not,
narrate?
then
You can do it.
I'd
I don't
like
care.
I'd like to take it for this
I
chapter.
think Kanda should
Gotcha,
give it.
gotcha.
Oh my god.
Patch.
Did you want to discuss any parts of this? Because this has been
All I
pretty
know
good.
is it's good that we're swapping out because I don't think if Kanda or if Gold did all of these that we'd be able to go through it in one
We
go.
wouldn't.
The fucking
The only
rants
person I'm worried
coming
about
up.
at the moment is poor Wooloo.
Oh fuck yeah! Oh my god, Wooloo, good luck, man.
Hey, you trained for this.
Honestly,
Yeah,
Wooloo,
I
if you need
did.
a longer break at the end of the chapter, just say. Because,
All right.
God, you have a lot
Alright.
of speaking.
So you're narrating
I'm,
the
I'm
next
totally
one,
ready
Kanda.
Yeah. Let's give it a bit of a break, though.
Okay. And then Gold, are
We
you
can
ready
talk
to
about
roll
some
back out?
I'm fine.
All right.
Oh, I love the name of the next chapter. Holy shit. Oh, I'm so excited, guys.
We're
That was
almost
fun
back
being
to where
angry, Amelia.
where we left off.
So, like I've said many times, I read this arc and I enjoyed it, but I don't remember jack shit from it, and I honestly thought Amelia died here.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Like,
we.
I
Oh
thought
my
it was
god.
straight up killed her.
Yeah, arc's over. She dies in arc 5.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
What I will say is that fucking superhero landing Regulus is fucking.
People were saying that they thought it was Reinhard or Julius.
Well, honestly, since I forgot what was happening, I thought it was Reinhard too.
You just hear, it's okay, Subaru, I got Amelia. But no, it's fucking Regu.
Don't worry. No, it's Reinhardt. He just wants to marry Amelia.
It's
too.
Regu cosplaying as Reinhard.
He just dyed his hair white.
Yeah. Do you like my hairstyle?
Christ.
Thought it looked nice.
Oh,
Like
wait.
Kid
It's cool
Reinhardt.
seeing
Did my
like
stream die?
Amelia.
No, my stream's alive. Oh my god, okay, I got scared.
This thing's alive.
Okay.
Yo, someone said Regulus gives off Sugo vibes from SAO. That's the fairy dance.
Oh my
villain.
god.
Not gonna lie, they're kind of right.
That kind of right. Yeah.
It was kind of reminding me of Gil from Fates as well.
Oh my god,
Oh my
yeah,
god.
Gilgamesh.
You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh.
Very bad enough
Nice.
that right now Subaru feels like Shiro with less powers. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Shiro with
cried.
much less powers and a lot more suffering.
Yeah.
I actually want to be an anime voice actor someday, so it's
Hey,
always
Hey!
awesome. It's always awesome when somebody compares my voice to another voice actor's.
Nice.
Gosh.
Oh my
Also,
god.
Amelia went all freaking Sub-Zero. She's gotten so good with her ice manipulation.
Sub-Zero.
that she's breaking ice.
I'm
It's the
not
first thing that
people-
came to mind.
The webtoon?
Unlimited ice works!
Yeah, this is
No, Sub-Zero
another
Mortal Kombat.
this is another fairly rare instance where it's outright stated that Amelia is like furious, angry, and pissed off. And I really hope when this is adapted in the anime, they don't just get rid of that to make Amelia more cutesy or whatever,
Be nice
like
to have her
they
angry.
did for the Choose Me episode, which I hated.
Subaru.
Was Amelia like pissed off because she was being controlled, or was she actually straight up pissed?
She was
Straight
straight
up
up
pissed.
pissed.
No, she's straight up mad, yeah.
Straight up.
Fucking with
You're a
everyone.
dirty half elf. Your parents should never brag.
You
That's
you literally have a person calling her a
Owie.
straight up whore, like in this entire chapter. Like
over
She's
and
mad.
over again, mind you.
And it's not
so
that
rude.
that gets her angry. It's also her saying that the things that she loves about herself, which are from Mother Fortuna, being bad.
this is
That's what gets
way
her really angry.
this is
This is
way
way-
harsher
Yeah,
than
that was
Echidna.
the ticking. That was the ticking point.
Yeah, Echidna was pretty harsh too in arc 4, but this is like a whole nother level.
Also,
Well,
Subaru's stuck in like a zombie situation now. They
Echidna-
literally are just connecting. Keep going.
Echidna wasn't actively hurting her though, like fighting her and trying to kill her. So that's probably
Oh
why
my
she was
God.
more fine with that.
Somebody in the chat said, "I feel like Regulus might go NTR to Subaru." Why?
No!
Why?
Oh no!
Oh my
Oh my god.
Yeah, why?
I'm debating.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm debating deleting or timing this person now.
Somebody
Jace, you don't need.
said,
Jace, you don't need to know.
You don't
Jace,
need to
no,
know.
stop.
You don't need to know, Jace. Don't look it up, please.
Please
I'm
don't.
having some deja
Looking it
vu.
up.
God damn it! Why?
Wait, deja
Limited
vu from
wide
what?
Wait, it's
People
basically
literally
just
commented
cheating,
that
right?
first time Regular showed up.
Oh, he
No,
did?
it's worse.
Our first time reading in our first streams, people said the same thing.
Oh my god, I didn't even remember.
All right, guys, are you ready for Sonic the Hedgehog to narrate the next chapter?
I will mute you.
No.
Deadass, do not, please.
Please, I gotta go fast first, please.
Chapter 25. Gotta
All right,
go
Kanda. I'll send you my PFP right
Gotta
now.
go fast.
No, Jace, don't search it. Jace, stop. No.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
See what you do to us, chat?
Oh no. No, Jace, Jace, just stop looking into it, please.
No, just don't look into it, please.
Emilia, my hair keeps
Fine.
on my
You
favorite.
guys are no fun.
We're trying to protect Jason!
Save yourself.
$100
damn
for
it, why did
Sonic.
you
Does
have to show
anyone
me the
remember?
perks?
No.
Oh god.
We're not doing
no.
that. No.
You can take your
Oh.
pick between either two.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
Sonic-
obvious.
Why is Sonic the Hedgehog just so dark?
Oh my god.
Luigi!
By the way, I'll
Okay.
be right back in about a
Changer.
minute. So
Okay.
Change your profile picture to Shadow the
1 second.
Hedgehog.
No worries, Gold.
Full edge.
Yo, is it just me or is Sirius's passive kind of broken?
And I was about to talk about the authority.
Yeah,
I was gonna
it's
say, how
fucking
does this
busted.
basically
ReZero
just bypasses all the crap?
It's just hacks.
ReZero villains are just like hacks. Like if any character from any sort of fiction like came into the ReZero world, they wouldn't
They
be
would be
able to kill
fucked.
them.
Their shit would be
They would
pushed
even-
in.
Even Goku wouldn't be able to get past Reinhard's fucking divine protections. Like it's literally impossible.
Let's be honest.
And this
Let's-
is what's really sucky for Subaru as well, right? Is because he's not one of those OP protagonists either.
Oh.
Like he has to get through it with wits and like bending the magic systems that ReZero place, which is
I
why
mean-
I love the villains in this.
It's why I love Subaru as a main character, because not just because of who he is and like his character development and stuff, but also because of the
Right,
role he has to play. He has to be very smart with what he does.
Dude.
So another nice touch we got with this one again is he's being forced to rely on people, though he wasn't he wasn't actively.
Oh, wait,
completely
shit,
trying to
hold
make
on.
everything about himself.
Wolf, are you using your snowball input for your mic?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Have you heard the news? Like you've been really quiet apparently.
Have I been? Oh,
I
I'm
have
so
I have you
sorry.
on 200 and I have your audio
I was
input
gonna
at
say
200.
I actually noticed that too.
Has it been bad?
Well,
It's
too
weird
bad.
because
are you whispering
I
away
hear
from
you
your mic?
so well.
I hear you
No.
well.
Do I sound okay now?
You're fine
Yeah.
now, but like
Sound
when you're whisper reading and you're like, oh no, like we can barely hear you, so you have to like do it
Oh,
into your
I'm, really,
mic.
I'm really sorry, guys.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're
I heard
fine.
him.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm
I
saying
heard you
Kyle,
the
I
whole
heard him.
time. It was just apparently like a couple people were having a big issue.
I was
with
trying
it.
to adjust it, but
okay.
then I had to skedaddle from my apartment for a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. Random fire drill moment.
People smoking in the next unit. Yeah, fun. Okay, so we're waiting on Gold to come back. Kiki's
I
back,
forgot what I
think.
was saying.
We
Saying
were
something,
talking
I
about the
can't remember now.
broken passive ability of Sirius.
To get by everything that was already a thing. We kind of missed the meddling with Priscilla getting Amelia to get in there.
That's okay, screw
originally in
her.
the first chapter.
Oh, someone
that
said
was
for
an
the
interesting
stream-
touch.
For the stream, it sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should be fine.
Okay, that's fine.
It might just be the way you guys are hearing it.
Oh, freak! I remember now. No, I was gonna say again. Subaru's not. I mean, he's being forced to have two people he doesn't want to be involved again, and it sort of feels a bit like season 4 with having to rely on other people. It's not the fact that he's like he knows Amelia is a target, as we currently just saw right now.
Right.
So he was technically right. But even just having these two around, he now has way more combat ability because, as we can just say right now, Amelia is actually crazy when it comes to fighting. Like Jesus
Hell
Christ, if you start with
yeah.
like
Oh my
double
god.
ice swords and stuff. They don't animate this. What did we talk about beforehand? We said what's the Fates animation team?
Table.
Jesus Christ, if we get that with her doing the ice swords, I'd lose my mind.
Oh, you
I'd
mean
absolutely
foldable?
lose my
It
mind.
really would be unlimited
Yeah.
artworks then. wouldn't it?
Speaking of
Okay,
weapons,
am I losing my mind? I swear to God, there was an illustration of Amelia with her ice sword. Am I going crazy? Was that fan art?
Crazy.
It might
Okay.
have been fan art.
It
Uh,
is the channel, like the video.
Yeah, thumb.
It's the thumbnail.
Okay.
He
Somebody
still kind of underestimates her, just like a little bit. It's not completely, but he still kind of. I don't think he's like he's trying to purposely. I think one part of the thing says like because he still just sees her as a woman, like his brain's still going there. But like she was able to detect danger in a matter of seconds. She saw the crowd and went, no, we can't do anything. Let's go back. With
This
threat as
is
well.
something with Subaru as well, right? Like
Yeah.
he's been told he needs to do this way, but it takes a long time for a person to change.
Yeah.
So even though he's actively trying not to, be the kind of person that tries to do everything by himself still, it's a subconscious issue. Like sometimes he just doesn't consciously know that he's doing it.
Yo, but can we talk about something?
What's up?
Real quick, it's kind of like just a funny thing, but why is Amelia like not in any kind of fighting game whatsoever? Like any anime crossover fighting game?
I thought she was in
literally-
BlazBlue, wasn't she?
I think
she what?
Wasn't
Is
she?
she?
that should be a licensing.
Wait,
That
hold
should be a
on.
licensing thing.
Hold on,
Dude,
hold
I
on.
think Kanda's brain explode.
It was either Ruby or I think I'm wrong. Give me a second.
It might have been.
It was Ruby.
I swear to God, I will buy that game. I will buy that game and main Amelia.
Oh, you fucking liar! You.
I'm sorry.
No, I thought you were. No, what I originally thought was because I know Amelia from A Devil Was a Part-Timer who's in the fighting game. I thought you were.
Oh, no.
confusing that.
I know that she's in a bunch of gacha games just to have people try and revive their dying franchise so they can pull ReZero characters. But other than that,
Jesus.
yeah.
Shots.
Oh yeah, there's been so many crossovers with gacha games, hasn't there?
Before we pull onward, somebody asked in chat how much money for Part 7 of Real Life. $10,000.
Jesus.
Right.
They're gonna do that. Don't say
They're
that,
not.
Hollow.
They're not. Okay, $1. Okay, no, I shouldn't. Nothing.
No,
we're not doing it.
Just stop making bets. Stop.
Um,
Seriously, like before
Oh
I
my
die, I just want one really good, huge anime crossover 2D fighter, because all we get is these stupid fucking 3D ones that
Yep.
Dragon Ball Z fighters. Need the Guilty Gear guys to make.
Can you explain to me why
game.
Ruby got a crossover with the fighting? Wait, have you even played BlazBlue, Kanda?
I've seen a lot of gameplay of it, and I played the demo. on
Explain
Switch,
to
but
me
I'm
why
not like it.
Ruby with the shittiest story in the world has a crossover.
I mean, I like the character designs and the music.
Those
and
are
they
fine.
Fit the vibe.
The
The
story
vibe of the
sucks.
game, but like Ruby
Yeah.
sucks after like season 2. So.
Wait, Gold, have you seen Ruby, like all of it?
No, I don't know Ruby at all.
Oh,
I
fuck,
haven't,
good.
I haven't either. I've just
All I
watched
know-
many videos on it, and I form my opinions from those because I'm dumb.
Wait,
All I know about Ruby is from that game where you have like the main character of Ruby, right?
Yes.
And then you go ahead and you kind of like enter the battle, and one of the songs is Red Like Roses, and I
Oh
know
my
that's
god,
like
the songs are good, but like, oh, that's probably Grim Eclipse, or it's like an open world game. They all died. They're literally all money grabs in the game.
Oh god, we're losing viewers.
It's alright,
All right, we're
sorry,
starting.
sorry.
The
Stop talking about Ruby. Oh my God,
Ruby
yeah.
sucks.
What's
Okay,
going on?
are you ready, Gold, for serious screaming chapter?
I'm ready.
All
Although
right,
I have
all
no water left in my house, so that sucks.
You have
So
what
I
in your
can-
house, huh?
No water left in my house.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, if you get
No
too
water left in
dehydrated,
your house.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, we're at
dehydrated.
211. Quick, start the chapter.
All
Welcome
right,
to
guys.
the. Wait, hold on. Welcome, Cameron, to Royal Guards. All right, chapter. Yeah.
Arc 5, Chapter 25, Leo's Theater. An enigmatic white-haired youth suddenly entered the barren, chaotic battlefield that had been ripped asunder by ice and fire. His white hair was neither too long nor too short, without any distinct style. His figure was also neither too muscular nor too slim. He had a medium build, which gave off the weak impression that it would immediately be swallowed by the crowd. But
Sin Archbishop. Creed?
the mediocre young man's self-introduction left quite an impact on Subaru. As long as Subaru's ears had not failed him gravely, then that young man had in fact called himself a Sin Archbishop of the Witch Cult. And perhaps that statement certainly had not been a lie. If that were the case, then how else could he have been unscathed from Sirius's final attack like nothing had happened? Such an anomaly was impossible.
Even so, it's great that I caught up. After all, my bride nearly turned to ash. Even I, who rarely expressed any particular expectations, do hope that my bride's humanoid shape can be kept. Rather than that being a matter of merit, I think that it is a matter of course. After all, I do not have the perverted habit to devote my love to a lump of ashes.
In front of a trembling Subaru, the young man, the Sin Archbishop, who had called himself Regulus, looked down at Amelia in his arms, weaving such words, bringing with him a fear that refused to dissipate. Although... Sorry, my phone zoomed out. Although he spoke smoothly and fluently, the contents of his discourse were empty, as if he were just repeating the same joke over and over. Amelia, who was forced to listen to that joke, did not stir. She seemed to have lost consciousness entirely, her slender form only lying prone in his arms. Regulus raised a finger to the white flare in his eyebrows.
Although it's gratifying to see nothing wrong, it seems regrettable that I can't reveal my heroism to my bride today. I think that a heroic rescue in the midst of a dead-end crisis brings two people's hearts to a very important place. Well, after all, that the two hearts shall be connected is already an established fact, and the only question is of the timing. Isn't it great?
You. What have you been saying?
Regulus, who had been speaking his self-righteous truth, discovered Subaru and frowned upon him. He then gave a very tired-sounding breath.
Don't you understand basic concepts like politeness? The first thing I did to introduce myself? The reason why I did so is because the most important thing to do at the start of a relationship, no matter what kind of relationship, isn't it necessary to start with an acquaintanceship where we both know each other? So, just because I'm someone who cares about such things, I often think that no matter to whom, I will be as friendly as possible with anyone. I'm not saying that there isn't a chance that the other party is shy. Even if you think you want to become well-connected, when you start by introducing yourself, sometimes you cannot help but hesitate. Out of consideration for those types of people, I try to introduce myself as much as possible and act to create a space where they feel comfortable. Of course, I don't expect this grace to be immediately obvious. However, I do have hopes that after some time they will be able to detect the meaning of introductions. Or, rather, that they will become aware of it. Is it natural to talk to someone you meet for the first time without introducing yourself? If that's the case, then there's a slight difference between my common sense and those people's culture. In that case, although both parties feel a sense of obligation, it becomes necessary to refuse the other side in advance as to prevent a misunderstanding. It isn't so different from what I said before, taking being gentle with each other for granted. In fact, saying so feels impolite. That's a lack of etiquette, and the other party is left with a lesser value. A false assessment of each other's value imposes on others. This is a violation of the rights of others. From any rational perspective, this is an infringement of my rights.
Oh. Sorry? My name is Natsuki Subaru.
A frenzied look rose in Regulus's eyes as he prattled on, serving as a warning siren to Subaru. Acting on that fear, Subaru trembled as he gave his name. Then, hearing Subaru's introduction, Regulus squinted his widened eyes.
Yes, that's fine, because giving respect invites respect. Although the conditions for achieving a world that creates both comfort and respect are taken for granted, we're not obligated to seek the happiness of others. As long as you pursue your own happiness, others will correspondingly find happiness. Don't get caught up in your desires, just accept your truths and feel satisfied with your everyday needs. That is the peaceful way of life.
It would perhaps be worth questioning whether his smooth speech was serious or not, but his bright eyes proved that his words were neither joking nor ironic. Rather, they were genuine beliefs. It was the same with Sirius. Taking his words out of context would perhaps make them seem decent, but Regulus's demeanor and words held the same superficiality and distortion as those of Sirius.
After all, is it really so hard to find the proper mood to establish dialogue? Why is it impossible for mankind to do this as a matter of course? Why is it impossible to consciously, unconsciously, indifferently continue to cause subtle harm to others? Subtle injuries hurt, don't they? On top of that, if anything serious works its way in, it might grow into a life-threatening disease. Body and soul are the one and the same. I hate those who misunderstand life to the extent that they unconsciously threaten others. Don't their minds seem warped? Obviously, they're flawed as human beings, and it's not okay for that behavior to remain unconscious. It is, of course, wrong to impose a burden on those who are discriminated against. People have common sense. Why can't they consciously realize that the world is carrying on? Even without realizing that they're trampling upon the hidden hearts of others, they don't become conscious of their twisted, flawed mistakes. Don't their feet just keep trampling and trampling?
As if unhappy with Subaru's silence, Regulus repeatedly pressed for an answer. Regulus's speech was gradually becoming faster and faster, clearly conveying an increase in excitement. Even so, Subaru still could not respond. At the thought of giving a response, his heart flinched.
All that said, don't you know?
Thanks for the lesson! Burn, scorch, and disappear!
A cascade of fire poured down from behind Regulus. Sirius had waved her arms to summon a flame which mercilessly consumed her fellow archbishop. Subaru, witnessing this atrocity, found himself once again unable to move.
Subaru!
No. But it's okay.
Beatrice, also trembling in fear, gripped Subaru's shoulders until they hurt. She too was worried about Amelia, who had been caught in that waterfall of flame in the arms of Regulus. It was impossible for Subaru not to fear for Amelia, who had been caught up in that display of violence. Even so, he held a steadfast belief.
I say, to interrupt someone else's conversation like that, how awful are you at reading the mood? If you want to say something, speak up. Raise your hand. Do you think I have the presence of mind to just wait for you to speak up?
Regulus twisted his wrist, and the vortex of flame vanished. The heat wave dissipated as if dismissed by magic, while Regulus, standing at the center of the vortex, remained untouched. Naturally, Amelia, resting in his arms, was still in the same state. Even engulfed by the flames of that intensity, not a single drop of sweat surfaced on his face, let alone a burn.
You and I share the title of Sin Archbishop. I know that your head is messed up. I could have turned a gentle blind eye if it were just a little mistake. Fortunately, there was no harm done. Only...
Turning away, Regulus lowered his voice and glared at Sirius, who bore that gaze as she closed her coat, once again hiding the girl bound to her from the surroundings, gritting her teeth all the while.
You were planning to burn this girl along with me. I would be a little reluctant to say that I will forgive that kind of behavior. It's better to say it would be impossible. Since ancient times, no matter what the story or the morality of the characters, if one's loved ones are hurt, then their anger is inevitable. Because that's a right everyone has. I am well within my rights to take revenge.
Angry? Ha! Did you get angry? Don't make me laugh! A superficial and insignificant man like you cannot speak so lightly about anger. Anger is mine. It's what I got from him. It's more important to me than anyone else, too.
Ooh, I see. Are you still clinging to the idiot who died while he was ahead? How annoying. How disgusting. That's neither constructive nor rational. Death is the end. This is a matter of course, isn't it? Unwilling to admit even that and clinging to just memories, you really are flawed. If someone you love dies, find the next one, rather than yelling about love, love, love! Exercise your rights you can give granted. Disrupting that natural cycle. You really are hopeless, scum.
You, who laughed at that person's death, to speak so arrogantly!
Sirius, who had been relentlessly demeanored, flew into a rage. The stone flooring crackled at the mercy of the madwoman's stomp as she directed her twin chains of flame forward, which flew toward Regulus at an alarming rate. A burning, tearing sound accompanied the weapon on its lethal journey. The chain hit Regulus's flesh, striking his cheek to one side. However, neither Sirius's fury nor the chain's attacks had been calmed by that single blow. Left to right, top to bottom, front to back, Sirius's copper chains beat relentlessly at Regulus's whole body. On top of that, the chains, flying at an incredibly high speed, projected waves of hent as well, completing a cage made of flames.
Disappear! 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 Turn to ash along with a damned half-devil!
The fence of flame converged towards its center, trapping Regulus in that raging pillar-shaped inferno. The temperature of that storm was high enough to melt the floor where Regulus stood, and the ground beneath him either evaporated or sunk to form depressions. Sirius witnessed the blazing result, out of breath, sharing her wrath. The crowd of wild-blooded people around her bled from their eyes and noses, making strange sounds as they congregated together.
I say, how many times do I need to tell you the same thing?
Regulus stepped forward on the stone slabs, halfway melted, glowing red, as if nothing had happened. Whether it was white hair, his clothes, or Amelia's arms, nothing about him held a trace of injury. Only his expression had changed into one of childish dissatisfaction.
I've thought about it. No matter how many times the same thing is said, some people cannot understand. They don't care enough or endeavor to understand what is said. It's not contempt. Whether carving what they've learned in their hearts as commandments, or doing careful self-examinations, or remembering it was something to be thought about the next day, they don't have any of that. They forget. They continue to do the same thing, saying the same thing over and over again. It's not only blasphemy, but it's contempt, which gives negative impacts to both parties. Both their own value and the value of the other party are fundamentally degraded. That's how it is. It's a form of violence that disregards words and actions. But this is what I thought.
You damn insect!
The early days of the witch's cult, its doctrines went like this. If one cheek is hit, present the other cheek and ask why. It showed the value of mutual understanding. But I've thought of this too. It's also true that someone whose cheek has been beaten should fight back. It's especially necessary against those who don't know pain.
Only listening to the content of that speech would make it seem very stern and proper, but Regulus was a distorted existence. Regulus, who stepped out from that depression on the floor, wore a grim smile towards Sirius. That smile was certainly no friendly gesture, rather, it was closer to the licking of a tongue as a predator surveyed his prey. It was still unknown how Regulus had defended against Sirius's flame and chain. Perhaps his power was purely defensive in nature, and the authority of greed granted no means of attack. Therefore, it cannot be said that Regulus's behavior would have fatal consequences, but he could affirm. At this rate, Sirius would die, and there was no way that Regulus was a holder of purely defensive abilities. If that young man took any action, there was no doubt that Sirius would die. If that were the case, there would be no problem at all. In fact, leaving the number of Sin Archbishops reduced due to infighting would certainly be worthy of celebration. However, although gratifying, Sirius's death would drag most of the people surrounding her down with her. Of course, this included Subaru, as well as the crowd trapped in Sirius's wrath, and certainly Luzbel and Tina, who had surely prayed for one another's safety and sacrificed themselves. Even now, fear was spreading all over Subaru's body. His fallen knees trembled so much that even after breathing, it became an abnormal act. But even in this case...
Subaru!
In his ear, a weak, unreliable voice echoed. Although the owner obviously could not hide her trembling fear, her warm voice still spoke up from behind him. It was conveying a message along the lines of,
Rely on me.
Subaru clenched his teeth and staggered to his feet. He refused to be unable to do anything and delegate everything to the slight weight of the child on his back. Having said that, he would not be able to do anything at all without her strength. Therefore, Subaru refused to struggle alone, but also refused to throw everything onto one person. If Subaru were alone, then he would have remained on his knees in fear. The reason why Subaru could stand was because he was not alone. The other people engulfed by the madness were different. Only Subaru had someone close by. Only Subaru was not by himself. Tightly clinging to that real feeling, Subaru fought back his fear.
Beatrice.
I know, in fact.
With only a single call, Beatrice could fully understand what he needed. Confirmation with each other was unnecessary, each of them doing their utmost to accomplish each of their respective responsibilities. As long as they did that, they should arrive at their desired outcome. Both Sirius and Regulus, the Sin Archbishops, had completely forgotten about Subaru. They could only see each other and fully intended to kill one another. Sirius burning Regulus and only Regulus to ashes was the best outcome, but that would be impossible. Therefore, Subaru aimed to stop Regulus's rampage. He had to attract Regulus's attention to himself and take measures so there would not be a single number of victims. And, above all...
Don't you dare touch a maniac like that!
Inexcusable love pushed the fear away from Subaru's heart, lighting it ablaze. If he did not address his dishonest heart first, then he would never be able to fight Regulus. At the moment, Regulus had his back turned to Subaru, and his attention was being completely diverted by Sirius, which was of great convenience to Subaru.
Shamak!
As Subaru forced his trembling legs to move, Beatrice chanted a spell from behind him. Her powerful spell, Shamak, covered Regulus's body in a black haze as it severed him from the world, beautifully hindering his gait. Right before Regulus was engulfed, Subaru took a combat position and fiercely whisked his whip forward where something had been. He was aiming right at Regulus's neck.
His whip followed through as it attempted to ensnare Regulus. Surely, with this much commotion, even Regulus, arrogant as he was, would have to pay heed to Subaru. Perhaps there was even a possibility that Regulus would fall victim without realizing what had happened, thanks to Beatrice's shamak.
There's no response!
He's coming, I suppose!
Beatrice's warning had come after a heavy sense of anxiety had already hit Subaru. His whip passed through thin air, the missing presence of his target painfully obvious. The next moment, a white-haired youth kicked off the ground towards Subaru, emerging from the black haze.
This has been messy from the very beginning. I've been stirring up my modest life with your magic. Could you evaporate off somewhere?
Me? No, Marak!
Regulus held Amelia with his right hand as his empty left hand suddenly swiped at Subaru. Beatrice immediately gave up performing an attack in favor of casting a gravity-altering spell on Subaru. He immediately affirmed Beatrice's judgment and leapt upward to avoid Regulus's reaching fingertips. Marak was a type of yin magic with the effect of partially relieving a physical object from the teethers of gravity. Subaru's flesh was now lighter than a feather, flying upwards, leaving Regulus behind.
Why do you want to avoid it?
Why wouldn't I avoid it? It's scary!
Subaru cast his whip at Regulus again, who had looked overhead at Subaru. Rather than aim at any particular spot, Subaru only struck, hitting Regulus's head. His white hair floated outward from the impact, and the head that should have been lacerated by the whip was uninjured, almost as if his hair had been swept by a breeze.
What if my bride had been injured? Don't you think it's a matter of course that girls should be treated gently, and that it is not something that needs to be taught? Don't you even understand this?
Don't be stupid! The person I want to treat most gently in the world is that girl. In the first place, what's with the bride this and bride that? That's all you've been going on about.
It's been decided. It's destiny. After all, I made a promise in my dreams.
One hand bracing himself against the wall, Subaru was dumbfounded by Regulus's smiling reply. Something felt awry, but Regulus clearly did not care.
She and I are connected. That's fate, you know. I'm generally satisfied with myself, and I don't want anything at all. And although I don't particularly desire anything, I'm not so narrow-minded that I wouldn't accept what's given to me, especially what fate's given to me. Although most people do not expect this, I wish to protect my world, which is within my reach, at all costs. That would be myself, and the people who are important to me. I will protect her. I will welcome her as my bride and love her as she'll love me, and together we'll enjoy a peaceful life. Therefore, for the sake of that, I won't refrain from exerting the power that I've been given.
Then what? Then what about her own will? Obviously one of the parties has not consented yet. So aren't you getting ahead of yourself?
Regulus's stern statement had just confirmed his ironclad convictions. On one hand, it was a straightforward, righteous, and harmless way of thinking. On the other, it was ridiculous to a deadly extent. It was difficult to explain exactly why it was dead wrong, but it was something that had been clear from the very beginning. Because Regulus had fallen into a frenzy, everything had gone off the tracks. Subaru's voice trembled, but not only due to fear. To his question, Regulus smiled and continued as though discussing a disposable topic.
Are you worried about me? If that's the case, thank you. However, there's no problem. Fate is inevitable, in particular either love or friendship, that cannot be established alone. If fate told me that she would be my bride, then I am fated to be her groom. And this is all something that's already been decided.
Something is completely wrong with him, in fact.
Toward Regulus and his flawed theory, Beatrice leaked a subconscious murmur of disgust. Subaru held the same opinion. Regulus used pretty smooth words to cover up the underlying madness of a stalker in his beliefs. Subaru didn't even want to know the extent of trouble that the sentiments of a stalker would bring.
I've had enough. It's impossible for us to understand each other. It's disgusting to admit that such a horrible person is a rival for love.
Subaru removed his hand from the wall and allowed himself to float back to the earth. Looking at Subaru, who fell silent, Regulus nodded as if he'd grasped the main idea.
I see. I understand. You know, I'm sorry to say, but the fate of a lover can't be shared. I find homewreckers to be quite unsightly.
Shut it! Amelia Tan is my bride. I won't give her to someone like you.
Oh, this is Amelia. A lovely name. Suitable for lovebirds to softly call. Very suitable for this adorable girl indeed.
You don't even know her name? Yet you say you want her as a bride. What a joke! What made you?
Her face.
Subaru was choked speechless with anger. Misunderstanding the silence, Regulus tilted his head.
Cute face. That's all love is all about, right?
Go die!
Drop dead, I suppose.
Agreeing with Subaru's assertion, Beatrice also denied Regulus his overly casual love. Pedaling towards the ground, Subaru's weightless body was still under the effects of Marak. As Subaru shortened the distance between them as he rode the wind, Regulus lifted his gaze as if shocked. At this time, Regulus could not understand the implications of Subaru drawing within close combat range. Subaru himself understood how stupid it was to approach Regulus. Rather than being unintelligent, Regulus did not share the familiarity with battle that Sirius did. That was not to say that he was unprepared, rather he heeded no weapon. Therefore, getting close to Regulus would be nigh suicidal. Even so, Subaru had one pressing reason to fight with Regulus at close quarters, because his trump card could only be used at close range.
Why did you come here? I don't really understand. Although it's not necessary. I do hope you can tell me. I don't lack thoughtfulness after all. I wish to understand even my withering opponents.
Thanks for enlightenment. Back home!
Ready, in fact!
Regulus approached Subaru with his left hand extended. Each of those fingers was likely a fatal weapon that would reap Subaru's life. Before that could happen, Subaru took a breath and shouted. This was one of the fruits of the efforts Subaru and Beatrice had accumulated over the course of the past year.
E-M-M!
What?
The high-pitched chant made the mana inside of Subaru's damage gate sensitive to Beatrice's manipulation, and from there, exclusive magic which no one else had yet developed was casted. One of 3 original spells devised by Beatrice and Natsuki Subaru, the magic of absolute defense, EMM, was activated. Subaru's body would be wrapped in an invisible magical field which would allow him to sidestep from the plane of existence, nullifying any attack on him, be it physical or magical. Regulus's fingertips did not bring any harm to Subaru upon reaching him. Upon witnessing this incident, for the first time, Regulus revealed an expression of stiff shock. And then, Subaru aimed at his face and fiercely released his left fist.
Dora!
The side of Regulus's face was struck. Subaru had struck him with the hard blow, but not the slightest redness had been left on his face, which was pushed back. The damage had been completely invalidated. It seemed that the internal and constant guardian of Regulus's flesh had the same effect as what Subaru had done.
Not ready yet, I suppose!
Before Regulus could counterattack, Beatrice shouted that the conditions for the next move had not yet been reached. In close proximity, Subaru needed to avoid Regulus's attacks. Being on the defense would make each action incredibly difficult. In that case, Subaru needed to give up part of his soul.
Don't worry.
Invisible.
As Regulus suffered a blow, his words were cut off, because he had been sent flying. Subaru looked over the scene as he coughed blood, roughly wiping at the corners of his mouth with his sleeve. No one but Subaru could have seen the imperceptible will of the gods, but Subaru could clearly see a black arm protruding from his chest, coursing with dreadful power, also known as his third arm. His entire body creaked, his soul weakened, and something venomous flowed throughout his body, materializing as a black blood in his throat. After paying the price for the ability, Subaru was able to summon a fallout attack. That blow, which consumed so much from Subaru, probably would not match up to a kick from Garfiel. Even so, that invisible attack should have a corresponding effect to the effort needed to cast it.
Subaru, are you in K, in fact?
Somehow. As for that guy, he's powerful, but his attacks are kind of flat. Among all those I've faced so far, it's about the same as Larkin's.
Spitting out the remainder of the blood clogging his throat, Subaru pointed out Regulus's poor fighting skill. Regulus's ability was so inexperienced and amateurish that even Subaru could face someone of his level. As long as Subaru kept his concentration, those murderous fingertips could maybe be continuously avoided. Subaru's shoulder was knocked. That was Beatrice's silent report. Because of its potent effect, their original spells had short durations. In addition, their spells had their limits, daily limits, and overuse would result in loss of potency.
Although the effects of EMM have ended, in this case there's a chance even without magic. So, if I can get closer...
Victory could be waiting, I suppose. There's a glimmer of hope in sight, in fact.
There's no such thing. I apologize for the misunderstanding. I dallied for longer than I should have, being that you are not so interesting. That's not the issue here. It's not good that we're having a disagreement. This is a violation of rights. I've been hit twice since we started. If I don't land an attack, that would be unfair, right?
Regulus landed from mid-air, glaring at Subaru and Beatrice, who had renewed their determination. His expression had lost its original calmness, became moody for a moment, and was now reaching outrage. At last, he had recognized that Subaru regarded him as an enemy, but as he thought about his original purpose...
What are you up to?
The ground between Subaru and Regulus suddenly ignited. Subaru was pushed backward by the wave of heat which bathed him, while Regulus bore the hot air as it blew across his face. Obviously, the two turned to the culprit for this, Sirius. So far, for whatever reason, that mad woman had not involved herself in the fight between Subaru and Regulus. Although the intent behind her inaction was unknown, Subaru would have preferred her to have remained silent. Her actions resulted in a very abrupt change. He had no means to combat Sirius's flames, and strongly preferred to deal with Regulus, who could only engage in close combat. Even worse, he had yet to find a solution to defeat her as well. Subaru gulped as the situation deteriorated, but things got worse, far worse than what Subaru could ever imagine.
I found you!
Huh?
Standing unsightly, Sirius stared at the two men glaring at her. No, at only Subaru. The mad woman had completely forgotten her desire to kill Regulus, merely staring with single-minded obsession at Subaru. Her gaze was filled with madness, and Subaru's throat suddenly caught. Then, the monster lifted her previously lifeless, drowsy hands and pressed them to her face.
I found you! Found you! Yes, it is really you! My apologies, I didn't notice you at first. My apologies, my greatest apologies. This is great. It really is. Sure enough, you came back for me.
What?
Darling, where have you been? No matter where I looked, I could not find you. Even after I tore your spares open, I still could not find you anywhere. Even though I had always been looking, and you noticed how I'd been searching, and you came back.
Her high-pitched, Seranus voice overflowed with obvious enthusiasm. Keeping her hands on her cheeks, she wriggled her body and gave a series of pleased sounds. It was truly difficult to put into words the state of this monster, so strangely it looked in front of Subaru. However, if pressed for an answer, one would say those were the actions of someone who had been searching for a lover for a long time, of a woman who had been consumed by blind love.
Because my thoughts have arrived. Because I want to be one with you. You finally noticed the wish I've been praying for. Because my love finally reached you. I've always been waiting for only you, my dear Betelgeuse.
Speaking with a frenzied smile, Sirius Romaniconti called the name of her bereaved lover as she cast a tender, affectionate look at Subaru.
And that ends chapter 25 of Arc 5.
What
do y'all think?
I'm so fucking mad. Invisible Prominence cut out.
It was like this, Wolf. It was like invisible
Yeah. Invisible poggers!
Hey, you did so good.
I'm so
Wooloo,
sorry.
good job, man.
Yay.
Thank you
Good
so
job.
much.
Wooloo Gold, Kiki. Yeah, good job, Wolf. Great job.
You guys think Betelgeuse was not important anymore in the story after his backstory? No.
Get wrecked.
Every character is important, baby. Forever.
What a random character. To the story.
So remember the last chapter when they were there was comments there now saying NTR intensifies.
gosh. No.
Y'all are
I'm going to
wildin'.
collectively bonk you all.
Please do it, Kanda. Just give them the you'll
Or
die.
you jail.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh.
So, we have 2 chapters left. Holy shit. We're only halfway through now. Yay.
I point out the fact that this arc has now become the reverse. Subaru is now the target for the witch cult. Like the whole thing with, oh my gosh, I need Amelia. She is the witch. I love her. She's amazing. And now we have the reverse.
Can we talk about
oh my gosh, it's Betelgeuse.
how
I love
Regulus
you.
just like sweeps in and like he's fighting Sirius and he's just so nonchalantly kind of like repelling attacks. He's like irritated
Can
almost.
you stop throwing fire at me, please? Can you stop hitting me with those
When I
chains,
first read this,
please?
I was like, where the fuck did Sirius go? I was like, what happened to Sirius?
Sirius got timed out.
She was literally just looking. She was just like looking. She was
Yeah,
like,
I didn't realize until we discussed it and I reread the chapter after that. I was like, wait, where did she fuck off to that whole time they were fighting?
No. She was sitting there thinking of a plan. She had a piece of paper out and she was writing. She's like, if
She
I
was
go
writing her
around
confession.
him. Yes, yeah, there we go. Oh my gosh.
Alpha
Also, I'm
Man's
so
important.
proud of Subaru. He actually went in there. I'm so glad.
Yeah, that year was not wasted.
Terrifying
He's
situation.
My boy has come a long way.
I kind of hope that in the anime, like when Sirius like fades into the background for a bit because she's so stunned. I hope they just don't include her in the frame.
She's a frozen
make the
PNG
audience-
the whole
to
time.
make the audience like forget about her. Because if she's just standing there and the anime shows her just standing there, people are gonna be like, "What the fuck is happening? Why isn't she doing shit?" So I'd rather they just subtly make her disappear into the background.
well, you could also
Maybe
do
they'll
like
make him visible
or
it's
something.
iconic and it'll cut out in the anime too.
Oh yeah, people deserve some bonks for some things that were said during the reading. My god, you guys are down bad. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to the chat. What the hell did they say?
Good. When
Oh, God.
there was what was the line when Beatrice was saying that Sirius was coming? There was some bonkable shit in chat.
Dude, I thought you were gonna say the fucking
those fools.
I thought you
No.
were gonna mention the thing I said.
Alright, chat,
Beatrice
how
is
old are all
Snell.
of you?
No, they're oh, Cameron with the $5. Thank you, man. Let me see what you said. Cameron's a good boyo. I'm late, but I was in time for my favorite part. Glad that you can make it. Welcome. Again.
Awesome.
You're in all the live streams. But yeah, you guys are God, my lord. Beatrice is wholesome. Please know.
Yes.
So Regulus is such a hypocrite. The dude goes, "How dare you hurt a woman? I can't believe you would hurt a woman."
Then he hurts
proceeds to blow Crucia's arm off, her whole arm, screaming in agony.
Yeah, Crush, if you're in the chat, I'm sorry about that.
No.
You're not.
I'm sorry I cut off your arm and stuff. Can we still be friends?
You can
Can I
give her
make you my 181th wife?
you
I
can
can't
give her
speak yet.
a hand, can't you?
Someone says
gosh.
Subaru uses invisible
I can
hand.
give her something like that.
Sirius will remember that.
Can we just bring this up one more time that Regulus hasn't gotten another wife in the 100+ years that we saw
Not
him in the
surprised.
flashback?
He said, "I want to marry her because she's cute." He sounds like a bad
A Redditor.
isekai protagonist.
Oh.
Yeah,
Sounds like
yeah,
a
yeah.
Kirito.
I
Sounds
almost
like
called him
Subaru in
incel
Arc 1.
Kirito.
I love
Until
Subaru and
Kirito.
Beatrice's unanimous response to him of fucking just die.
Okay, Wooloo, I have to say, when you were like her face and it was such a deadpan delivery, I literally was howling. I was laughing my ass off when you're just
exactly
like
how he says it.
her face. Yeah, it's just like the fuck.
I'm not
Was that
gonna lie.
why didn't you dodge it? Like voice?
No. It was like when he's like, why are you in love with her? When Subaru asked that, and he's like, her face.
Literally, it was like the most like chill out answer, and Subaru's losing his shit because he can't do
Hey,
any.
chat.
Was
Eight
this
at
like
least
the
Yeah.
first
three
person
reasons
he
to like
liked
your
in
wife.
AlyVA?
Honestly, my
Yeah,
favorite
it's true.
moment of the whole chapter was when Subaru got flung into the air and Regulus is like, "Why did you dodge it?" And then Wolf is just like, "Why wouldn't I dodge it?"
Wait, what the fuck? Wait, you misunderstood this. He has plenty more wives. He just reserved the slot for Fortuna, and what the fuck kind of head ass fucking 2 IQ move is this bullshit? You reserve the spot? What
I mean,
the?
it sounds like something he would do. I'm not. That doesn't sound too off.
I can't
can
talk
see him
about it
going.
because that's spoilers. Yeah, we have to wait.
No, it's
Unfortunately
whatever.
for you lads.
my God.
I was gonna say something else. Freak. Hit the
Oh
whole-
hey, Hollow, just
Yeah.
real quick, this is kind of off topic. I kind of looked in the description and it doesn't have my
Oh my god! Oh fuck me! Give me a second.
Yeah.
Has he not updated his description?
That sounds like a Hollow thing to do.
Does that mean now I can complain?
no.
Where's my chance?
Resent me, chat.
Where's my paycheck?
Hollow, how dare you?
I was just throwing that out there. It's not.
Hold on. No, it's a huge. No. Be quiet. I'm changing it now. I'm putting him at the top, above WolfClaw, above everyone.
that was a lot of reading, dude. You read a ton.
A lot.
I would be tripping up on every word you read.
Thanks.
Jesus.
It was really fun to read all of that, though. If I'm being honest.
Really?
And Gold.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Wolf. You guys were just. It was just. What did chat say? Chat was like, this is like a debate battle between all three of them, or something about serious.
Oh, you have
Regulus
so many
being a
links,
rap
Wooloo.
battle.
Jesus, give me a second.
Nice.
When I first read this chapter over, I didn't realize that Subaru said that Amelia was his bride already.
Yeah.
And when I heard it, I was like, oh, okay.
Oh
Alright,
wow,
Subaru.
Wooloo has 4 links. Wow.
It's gonna be a good romantic moment where the
he's
crowd
just
goes,
proclaiming
"Woo!"
it.
The chapter is who's down the worst.
It's Regulus. These
Sorry
like 2.
about that. I've got a lot of Wooloos everywhere.
No, you're fine. There's like 2 incels that are just fighting, is what some people describe it as.
No, these are 2 Twitch moderators.
No,
fighting over a
Discord.
streamer.
Discord.
No. If you saw that out of context, you would totally think it was just something taken from an incel subreddit over like people fighting.
Excuse
over a
me,
girl.
I believe that this fair maiden, Amelia, belongs to me. It's basically
What would
this.
happen? It would just be some Julius or some Reinhard, dude. Then they'd both be mad and then write about it on Reddit.
Waifu wars.
You guys are the internet fighting over an e-girl.
Basically.
Which is
Oh,
funny because
Wait, what the heck? Why did Sylvan just... What? I'm so confused. Sylvan just joined the... Okay. Alright. Cool. What else is there to
I
talk
do love the
about?
fact that
Welcome to
a lot
the
of
project.
Yeah, go
We
on.
should go to the next chapter soon.
Yep, we have 4 minutes in next chapter.
Oh,
Can I just say like
okay.
one thing though?
Yeah, what's up?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I really like how Subaru uses a whip. Whips are just awesome.
yeah,
He is a Reddit
Yeah,
mod.
I don't
They
think
didn't give him a
there's
sword.
a single isekai series where the character uses a whip. Like
Nah.
After.
Yeah.
They just
If
use
I
their
notice
feelings.
A lot of characters
You don't
in
know
Zero
about-
uses
Not
sword
anybody really-
so it's cool to actually see something different for the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know about that time I was summoned to another world with a whip.
Oh my god,
It's
okay.
like,
The
I like
other...
how well reasoned it is as to why he uses it as well, because he just doesn't have the time to train with a sword properly.
Oh,
Right.
Marcos Chan with 1999. Notice me, Hollow. You've been noticed.
Ooh.
You've been noticed, Uwu. The whole cast has noticed you now.
You've been noticed and appreciated.
You
Jeez.
notice you, senpai?
Oh god.
I think it's also
Oh,
funny
God.
that Subaru would be like the only person to give Regulus some trouble in this instance for the fact that because he comes from another world, the techniques he can come up with can be from other inspired things. Things that are just not.
Can
he
we-
wouldn't be bothered
The
about.
irony is that his otaku weeb like kind of mentality
comes in
really
handy.
helps here.
Can we
Learn how
also
to
bring up
make
the
a
fact that like
Kamehameha.
Sirius
do it.
and Regulus talking is like 2 clowns talking to each other, like 2 people who are
Yeah.
so disassociated from reality.
That's why Subaru is just so confused when they show up and start speaking. He just doesn't know what they're trying to say.
You guys-
Where's
But
the nose though?
But I like how he can kind of understand what Regulus is saying because he. Now,
He's warped,
this is
but
actually
he's very.
something-
Oh yeah,
very,
sorry for pinging you so much, Wooloo, while you were reading.
Hey, what?
When we were pinging you at the beginning, because your mic was it sounded like you weren't talking directly into it, so me and Kyle's were directly pinging you. So sorry for all the pings.
Oh no, that wasn't a problem at all. Thank you for letting me know. Actually,
No worries, no worries.
Um,
You were saying something, Jace or Kanda? One of you guys were saying something.
yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say. Oh, you can go first.
Oh no, I was just gonna. You go
Chat.
first.
So polite. Sometimes.
Because Kanda's my friend. I want to be nice.
Yeah, we're all friends.
SpongeBob. Okay, go Kanda.
One of you guys go first.
I want Kiki to say her comment about Subaru's whip. but I want her to say it as Betty.
No, no.
What did she say? What?
Oh,
Do it, Kiki. Don't even fill them in. Just do it.
Oh god,
his voice is just the normal voice.
Beatrice, I suppose.
Be a bee.
Echo, I suppose.
Oh my god.
Get ready to clip it.
The buildup is making it worse.
Who is about to whip a Nene, I suppose?
Why?
All right, Arc 4. I mean,
All
Arc
right,
5,
who's narrating the
chapter
next one? Is
26.
it Pat again, or?
Oh, before we continue, I would just like to note one thing.
What's up?
For everyone. Notice how Subaru can kind of understand what Regulus is saying because he can see some of himself in Regulus, like what he previously used to be like. you will notice a lot of symmetry between Subaru and Regulus as characters going forward. So pay attention to it because it is very important.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was gonna say. Someone in the chat said that like Regulus was a lot like Arc 2 or Arc 3 Subaru. And I was just thinking, like, when it was kind of the same with Betelgeuse, because when Subaru first met Betelgeuse, they were actually a lot alike in their obsessive love.
Right.
But at this point, although he's meeting someone that was like him, he's no longer that kind of person, which I think is an important distinction.
Yeah, a good way I like to describe Regulus is imagine a Subaru with none of the virtues of Subaru.
All right.
He got no OP power.
Who is Pat doing the next one? I completely, because I know Kiki's doing the last chapter. Do you mind doing this one, Pat?
I don't mind.
All right. Let's all mute up and let's get into the next chapter, and then we have one more after that.
All right, bring it on.
Arc 5, Chapter 26, Spear of Love. The already dire situation had deteriorated drastically, resulting in the worst of awful conditions. Subaru trembled under Sirius's mesmerized gaze and her shuddering, glowing breaths. The madwoman gave no regard to the heat scorching her bandaged face. Her mad, brilliant eyes focused on watching Subaru. No, not just watching, but staring.
Dear Betelgeuse?
That was a madman's name, one which Subaru had never wanted to hear again. Subaru would be lying if he said he did not think of her as a madwoman, calling herself Romane Conti and ranting passionately of her love for her late husband. Even so, he was reluctant to seriously consider the idea as correct, as doing so would combine the existence of the lunatic Betelgeuse and the madwoman Sirius. He did not want to think of the union between the worst possible couple, Romane Conti as the surname.
A couple where both lovers are witch cultists and sin archbishops at that. It's ridiculously disastrous. Although, it cannot be helped he choose a bride like that.
Really, the morally bankrupt all belonged to the witch cult. The self-righteous Betelgeuse, Sirius who imposed her love without permission, and Regulus who treated love with flimsy fatalism. They were all scum.
Like your names are all a bit similar. Do they end in an S sound?
Subaru tried to bury the mind in his mind under trivial, pointless thoughts. But, right now, Subaru felt as if he had found something extremely odd, although he could not quite put his finger on what it was. Try as he might, he could not find it.
Please do not be so silent, Betelgeuse. You are such a mean-spirited person. See, you are already giving me that usual cold attitude. It makes me really anxious.
Sirius, unaware of the cause of Subaru's brooding silence, took her own interpretation of it as she kept her hands on her face and her waist twisting back and forth. The nightmarish scene spread as the crowd around Sirius took up her strange, delusional expression of affection.
Really, I can't deal with you anymore. Although his trick just now probably gave you that kind of idea, it's still really rather tragic. It should tie you together, no matter what kind of obstacles are faced. Like me and my brides. However, a separation by life and death before results can blossom is not only sad, but very unsightly.
Yes, thank you very much. My apologies. Now, excuse me, but I am busy. You know, right? Mutual understanding is important. Mutual concessions are also important. You have completed your purpose, so can you leave as soon as possible? After all, I also have my own private affairs.
Indeed, my purpose of finding my bride has been fulfilled.
Sirius's madness had given way to rationality, and Regulus overlooked that implication as he looked at Amelia, still in his arms. Then he turned towards Subaru.
But the one who wants to kill me and my bride, and who has been annoying since the very beginning, has yet to allow me proper vengeance in infringement of my rights. It's like taking a violent initiative. In this case, it would only just be a just revenge. Yes, this is an act of righteousness. Though I could endure this and leave, I would be doing legitimacy a favor. That is to say, leaving would be a loss of justice. I should not set that precedent.
Don't give me that high and mighty tone. Obviously you don't like me, so you want to kill me. Don't justify that with some shitty doctrine.
Actually, being talked back to is quite a surprise. Being spoken to as if I were mistaken is even more of a surprise. You are the type of people who disagrees with their opponents. In that case, the only thing I can say is that your vessel is both small and superficial. I think that this kind of person who can't listen to the words of others with sincerity will one day earn their just desserts. What do you think?
Do you have the right to say this?
Regulus's eyes widened as if incredibly taken back. Perhaps he was being sincere, convinced that his speech was justified. No, he was absolutely convinced. If not, he could not be leading subordinate in that abnormal group. Establishment of rational conversations were only an illusion. Although they spoke what seemed to be human tongue, they were creatures belonging to an alien ecosystem. Forgetting that would lead to being swallowed up by their words.
Sirius, you seem to have excluded him from your scope of your authority. What happened?
Instead of facing the silent Subaru, Regulus directed the conversation to Sirius. Frowning at his speech, Subaru belatedly discovered that the fear which had been gripping his heart had vanished. They had not left the range of the spear of influence. No, that was not the case, as proven by the fact that Pyrrhixz was still slightly trembling on his shoulders. In other words, only Subaru had been excluded, and the reason for that was...
Is it not obvious? Since I know that he is that person, if I continue to share my feelings, they might accidentally transmit to him.
Don't give me that shy look. It's really creepy. Have you proclaimed your love, love, love? There's no point in pretending to be innocent. I really don't understand you.
Do you not think that allowing those inexplicable feelings that cannot be expressed with words to be felt in such a manner is tasteless? Until the end of the end, until the very moment I become one with him, I will seal that feeling inside me. I've already decided so. Yes, for the sake of love.
Because of that dishonesty, your important feelings will never be able to reach him, you know? You are calling yourself Sirius Romane Conte, right? Don't you think that using someone else's family name is rather unpleasant? I suppose that, in a sense, it's like you're violating Betelgeuse's legacy. Well, he's all dead, so it doesn't matter anymore.
I and that person were in love with each other!
Hearing Regulus's amazed speech, Sirius exploded. The madwoman grasped at her hair in a frenzy, spittle flying from her mouth as she screamed at Regulus.
After all, when I gazed at him, he always met my eyes. When I touched him, he did not scold me. When I spoke with him, he gave me his attention. When I hailed his breath, he never told me off. I was allowed to sleep with him. I could freely borrow his things without him getting angry. He allowed me the honor of burning the half-devil. He gave me my name. He smiled for me. Only for me. Only for me. Only for me. Only for me.
Her breathing grew wild as she sobbed tears of unrequited love. Well, she had made herself clear. Sirius's existence was one of dark, twisted, pure love.
Ah, oops. Dealing with such strong subjective convictions is tricky.
Shrugging, Regulus spoke as if seeking agreement from Subaru. Subaru bit back at...
Do you have the right to say that?
To keep Regulus from lashing out. He needed to temper the balance between the two foolish extremists near him. Facing the two Sin Archbishops, Subaru saw no light of hope to break the deadlock. Rather, the situation had worsened due to Sirius's interference.
No. Could it get even worse because Sirius's interest has shifted?
Even if Subaru had broken away from the shared fear, there would be no marked improvement in his combat power. Obviously, Pyrrhixz would be his main advantage, but she was trapped in an unforgivable condition. her sharp judgment dulled by terror. At least, only facing Regulus would help.
Hey, Sirius.
Yes. What does it matter, my dear?
Sirius's candidly responded his call. Although Subaru was intentionally astonished at that unexpectedly serious response.
I have a bit of private business with Regulus here. So, could you patiently wait for a while? Please.
Do you wish for me to wait?
Making use of Sirius's misunderstanding could grant Subaru a chance at victory. Sirius appeared to have assumed Subaru was Betelgeuse due to his invisible providence, which resembled the unseen hand used by Betelgeuse. Although that was quite the false accusation, Subaru would have to take advantage of it for the time being. Betelgeuse had been a spirit. If he were still alive, it was entirely possible that he would have possessed Subaru as his next host. Although, the problem would be that Subaru had not indicated that he had recognized Sirius up until now. But Sirius, in her present state of mind, had not seemed to notice the issue. With that in mind, Subaru hoped to break that deadlock. The result.
My apologies. I cannot do that. Please let me refuse, even if it's something very important to you.
Sirius ruthlessly rejected his plea. Seeing Subaru's disappointed gaze, Sirius bowed her head.
Well, of course, I originally wanted to comply, but you are quite diligent, and you will surely slip far away from my extended fingers while I wait. I know you. After all, we have been together for so long. You have always tried your utmost and overstrained yourself alone to reach your desired results. And...
In all honesty, Subaru could not help but feel a heartfelt admiration for her love. Even so, Sirius' regard of Betelgeuse's hard-working nature was a rather blind perspective. That willingness to toil would be welcomed if this were a mere business person, but a Synarch bishop by vocation, he would only bring harm to the world.
Finally we were able to meet again. It has been a year, a whole year since I have been at your side. In this century, this is the longest we have been apart. And even after a year of not seeing you, you asked me to leave? I do not want to. I refuse. In your period of absence, of the period I have always wanted to become one with you. On top of that, you still want me to wait? And now you have the spirit who I've never seen before. Where did you find her? What exactly is appealing about that woman at all? She is small, her face is arrogant, and she has no breasts, no hips, no fragments of femininity. Is it because she's a spirit? Because you are a spirit? Your woman has to be a spirit too? The time we spent together loses to such a flimsy reason? I'll burn you.
The direction of her speech became perverse and became weird, and a crazed shimmer of unbridled frenzy rose in her gaze again. The crowd also left courting affection for anger. Blood streaming red from their eyes and noses.
And is that half-devil in the arms the reason why you need to deal with Regulus? That filthy half-devil. That silver hair half-devil. Why are you so partial to her? Stop immediately. Shouldn't you have understood that long ago? That despicable, loathsome, hateful, abhorrent fucking witch. If you revive her, I'll burn her here before your very eyes.
You're so increasingly incomprehensible, you.
The mad woman gave a bloodthirsty shriek, revealing her animosity towards both Amelia and the Witch of Envy. Was the goal of the witch cult not the Witch of Envy's resurrection? Subaru could not understand Sirius's attitude of loathing of the thing to be resurrected at all costs. Rather, Sirius had absolutely no resonance with the Betelgeuse she longed for. Although he had originally thought that they could not have been companions, it turned out to be nothing but enemies. The three-way deadlock resurfaced. Regulus planned to kill Subaru and Sirius. Sirius would defend against Regulus and draw out the non-existent Betelgeuse within Subaru. Subaru wanted to rescue Amelia from Regulus, and to free Tina from Sirius, and, if possible, kill the two Synarch bishops. Obviously, only Subaru's situation was far too harsh. Searching for a solution that Subaru did not have the ability to attain, his forehead began to bead with sweat. returned by death, followed by Sirius's appearance and Regulus's debut. After that, a melee battle between Subaru and the Sin Archbishop had ensued. This loop had been the longest yet. During that period of time, although he had retrieved useful intelligence, nothing but awful things had happened.
Echo.
You can try either one, in fact.
From his back came the timid voice of his partner, who would lend her support to whenever he was about to fall to fear. Subaru, who had been entrusted with what would happen next, made his decision. And at that time...
Oh.
Simultaneously, Regulus and Sirius both changed their attitude. They each put their hands into their coats and, from there, retrieved a book.
That is...
A familiar thick book with a black binding. There was one such book in Subaru's possession, and so there was no mistaking it. That was what all the witch cultists possessed. The Gospel. Ignoring Subaru, who had raised his guard again, the two archbishops opened their own Gospels and turned over their pages, surveying its writ. Then, although the timing had been identical, they closed their respective books, their expressions giving stark contrast to each other.
Assume the content is the same for both of us. Is that true, Sirius?
Shut up, Regulus. Oh, why? Oh, why now? When finally I found him again.
Regulus wore a light smile, and Sirius, who gritted her teeth and spoke in a voice full of remorse. Even if the Predator and the Madwoman held opposing feelings, their wills were unified. The two looked to Subaru.
Although, regrettably, it's time. My free time with you has ended. You should thank the Gospel. Well, that's not right. That doesn't make sense. After all, what's the use of being thankful to paper? Oh, rather, you should be grateful to me, who follows the Gospel faithfully.
Thank you for your faith. Was that about time? What are you talking about?
It's just as you heard. We were given free time before we need to do what we must be done. I took the meaningful time to retrieve my bride.
I feel incomplete. In front of that person, I should not be subjected to such treatment. It is too cruel. I'm being washed away by sadness, you know.
Regulus spoke with composure, while Sirius forcibly expressed her sorrow. The crowd collapsed, and Pyrrhixz spit back tears. However, Subaru and Regulus both remained completely unaffected.
Sorry, but your small, superficial love doesn't touch my complete self at all. At most, it makes me feel a little dirty.
In a contemptuous voice, Regulus, with Amelia still in his arms, turned his back to Subaru. Really, he looked as if he were just planning to let them go. If Regulus left by himself, that was fine. But...
Stop, you bastard! Don't just run off! Let her go! Otherwise I'll...
I thought you'd do that.
Regulus stopped and only turned his head to smile. Under that smile, Subaru felt as though a blade brushed his spine, and he swallowed, his entire body stiff. It was impossible to prevent Regulus's next move.
I think that if my bride finds one of her attendants gone, she'll be lonely. I think it's rather heartless of me not to invite you, who is in love with her. So I won't kill you.
Gently, Regulus tapped the ground with his toes. Although it was a gesture of comfort, as if adjusting his shoes, his foot dug neatly into the stone slab as if it were driving into soft ground. The wreckage of the slate flew towards Subaru. Bullets of soil seemed to defy gravity, traveling without aim. Some of them brushed the outside of Subaru's right leg, and, in that moment, Subaru's leg vanished. A beast claw had torn clear through his leg. On his right lower limb, clearly exposed in a twisted cross-section, were white bone, pink flesh, and yellow nerves, and neatly severed green blood vessels. Before he could comprehend what had just happened, the pain struck. The world became pure white, as if his head were being punctured by countless sharp needles. A scream lodged in his throat. Subaru was unable to support his own weight as he tumbled to the ground. His outstretched fingers desperately held his right leg. The wound was so large that the palm of his right hand could not cover it all.
Subaru! 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 Wait, I suppose! Right now!
Beatrice fell to the ground along with Subaru, noticing his severe injury and panicked as she began to chant up healing magic. Regulus nodded in satisfaction at the scene.
This is an adequate retaliation for your reckless behavior up until just now, so I'll let it go. Although I did consider the possibility of you doing it again, I think I still want to look forward to your future. This pain is sure to stop you if you consider hurting another person again. Don't thank me. Just save someone else next time.
God.
Pain, agony, suffering, hurt. A haze of agony, molars being ground to dust from gashing, a flashing whirl, the absence of up and down, left or right. Was he sleeping, or was he alive, or maybe he was dead? Confusion, cluelessness. Even so, there was something he needed to know.
Subaru, you cannot afford to mess around. If you have to vomit, turn to the side. If you don't, your throat will...
Enduring pain and madness, Subaru moved his head, his hand still holding his wound. His heartbeat was like an animal bell, and his internal organs constricted upon themselves with a sense of urgency, causing him to vomit repeatedly. The petty Beatrice, while desperately supporting Subaru's rampaging body, did her best to cast healing magic. However, someone was laughing at her mockingly.
You can't be serious, in fact.
My apologies. However, this obviously is not a joke. It is only natural, is it not?
Behind Beatrice, in abhorrent whispers, Sirius replied in a dark tone. Around Sirius, a crowd of people rolled as they screamed in pain. All of them with their hands on their wound, left in their right leg, desperately sought salvation. Like Subaru, the right leg had been torn off by a beast.
My beloved Beetlejuice would say that feeling pain is living, and that those feelings allow love to be exercised. I know that better than anyone. However, I believe there's a better way of representing that form of love. Thank you. That representation would be becoming one. After all, love is a prayer for becoming one. Seeing the same sights, feeling the same emotions, living the same life, ending with the same death, being together, that is love.
Opening her hands hit each other in a burst of clapping. Sirius gave harsh puffs of air as she fixed her intense, envious gaze on Beatrice.
No matter who, everyone should experience the same feelings as him. However, only you and that dirty half-elf will be denied that experience. Who would grant you such an honor?
There's no woman out there who'll be driven mad with jealousy as much as you. But it does not matter, since Betty has long been Subaru's closest confidant. Betty belongs to Subaru.
Beatrice refused to flinch under Sirius's cruel words. Madwoman and Spirit glared at each other, until Sirius turned away, breaking the interaction.
Now I can only trust him to you. After all, I must prioritize the Gospel's instructions. Yes, there is no other way. My apologies. You know I want to return to your side as soon as possible.
At this moment, Sirius still acted mad in love with Subaru. The madwoman left the bloodstained square with a single jump. Beatrice had no choice but to give up her chase. She understood that refusing to allow her to escape would merely result in more sacrifices.
Subaru.
With fluttering eyes, yellow bubbles burst from Subaru's mouth. Beatrice pressed her palm against his wound, attempting to stop the flow of blood. The wound was too deadly, and any slip in concentration would lead to Subaru's death. For Beatrice, saving Subaru was, naturally, her greatest priority. Although, there was another priority Beatrice had to follow.
If you don't treat the other injured people...
The number of wounded people rolling around the square was over 30. They had all suffered the same injury as Subaru, and in a cruel twist of fate, the healing being performed on Subaru had not reached them. She would need to heal every injury individually. That was the burden Beatrice needed to take up. But, even if she exhausted her store of mana, it would still be insufficient.
Subaru. I'm sorry, in fact.
Desperately trying to heal Subaru's injury, determined to keep a strong facade, Beatrice spoke with a hoarse voice. A stream of tears flowed down her white cheeks.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Beatrice voiced a string of constant apologies, even though she knew her voice could not reach Subaru, rendered unconscious by pain, even knowing that it would not solve anything.
I'm sorry, Emilia.
Sirius had created so many victims and left the plaza. Regulus had taken Amelia with his overwhelming power. The two Synarch bishops had been released in the Watergate city of Pristelia.
Jesus Christ, Kiki. That line delivery at the end. Fucking hell.
Absolute pain.
Holy shit.
So much pain.
Oh my. Oh no!
Why did you show the image?
Oh! Oh my god!
My heart.
Why would you do
Pablo
that?
is amazing.
No.
When did when did Pablo do this?
Pablo
They
literally just said
had it
this
done earlier
in the
today.
sketch.
Oh my lord, Pablo!
In the chapter.
Oh, I'm dying!
My heart.
Yeah, I was fine until she says Amelia by name for the first time.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Little
my
girl just watched her
God.
parents get brutally beaten and taken.
Hollow,
Hi.
just to let you know, there's a sound effect we're going to be
No, I know.
using
I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really sorry
my
about
gosh.
that. I need to get that sorted after
Oof.
we did the next one.
Kiki,
That's
seriously,
okay.
good job.
Very emotional. Very
Yay.
emotional.
Beautiful.
Well done, Kiki, by the way.
Great job.
Wooloo, you
Bum,
did
bum,
great.
bum, bum.
You did a great fucking
Thank
delivery.
you.
especially
You
the
were
end there.
killing me. Oh my gosh.
Also,
I
as
have-
well, Gold. Gold, you've done a good job.
Oh
as
my
well.
god.
Yes.
Oh, what?
Gold, it was very fun.
Wait.
It was very fun getting into a philosophical debate with you.
God.
I know.
Wait, who's joining? What the hell's happening?
Philosophies, I know.
It's old. Welcome to
Silver's
the
getting his ult in because he's setting up for the sound effect because
Ah, I
it's
see.
it's very, very fucking important
Are we
that we
just
get it
gonna-
right.
I have
Okay.
2 things for this chapter. I
Yes.
don't know. Okay, one's a question.
Yes.
So do we already know who's controlling the Synarch bishops
No.
with the book?
No,
Was it- okay.
we
So
can
we
only
don't know yet.
speculate. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That's a
And
spoiler.
then
Oh no, that's not. This is something we can.
Well,
only
no, we
speculate
can't. Well, yeah. Continue.
we won't speculate, but I was just making sure that I wasn't missing
No,
something.
no, you're not. You're not.
'Cause
No.
I thought about it and I was like, who's controlling them? But then also I see what you were talking about earlier, Wolf, with you can kind of see the parallels between Regulus and Subaru, and I kind of see like how if Subaru continued on his path when Amelia and him fought in like season 1,
Mm-hmm.
he could kind of be like that. So yeah, those
Yeah.
are my 2 things.
Had a comparison
Holy
for
shit.
Sirius's love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a Tumblr girl obsessed with a Reddit mod.
All right.
And is being confused. No, like for real, like
Get
on the
canceled.
Reddit. So she's got some really like decent moments of like you can see the shyness, like people pointed out. There's like, oh my gosh, this is almost genuine. Then she goes off the deep end in a matter of seconds because it becomes all about her jealousy. It becomes all about her envy. He's spending so much time with other women. What's wrong with you? I'm right here. We should be one. Every experience we should have should be the same thing together. Like there are parts of it, like we talked with the other witch Regulus earlier, and how he tries to like justify his actions. And like as you said, Subaru literally just calls him out on it because that's all he's doing every time he's fighting. Even at the very end, he gives like a heroic speech. Because again, we already said the whole incel Kirito thing. So he's like, I let you live this time, Frieza. Don't do it again. And then he hops off somewhere else. Because in his mind, everybody else is a villain. He was justifying every woman that loved him.
Regulus hit that Subaru with a know you.
Yeah. And now, this isn't just important for thematic or character analysis, what I will say. Like, the comparisons between Regulus and Subaru are actually an important plot point later on. So you will need to keep attention to it. Keep on... And I know it's difficult, but pay attention to what Regulus says, because it's actually important.
It's actually kind of difficult, yeah.
So, first off...
learn really useful information from what he says.
I just want to say, I'm fucking shocked I haven't crashed yet. So, my god, I hope you guys are enjoying this stream. This is our longest reading.
The only pick up has been my mic so far, which is good.
I definitely will say I don't think the readings have been as difficult as I expected them to be.
They get really fun. Like once you get into it, like
it's. I always find the first chapter that we start doing to be the most difficult, and then once you get into it, it's much easier.
I love playing Sirius. It's so fun.
Oh, I could even see you switch gold. I was like, where are you?
But yeah, for sure. Like, I love like when she's like being shy and whatnot. I think that's kind of funny to play.
They have so much like range of emotion with Sirius.
Angry.
Yeah, why is Subaru fighting alone? Like
he's big dumb.
I mean, there's like a terrorist act in Stella, and
he did try to get Sirius on his side. Hey, you know,
I'm gonna
can
leave.
You step out of the fight. Yeah, can you just for 5 seconds, babe? I'll be right back.
I do love how quick-witted Subaru is in that scenario. It's like, I need to take advantage of this, no matter how fucked up it is. Let's try and get her out of here.
Hey, I mean, she was willing to. She was like, "Oh yeah, woo."
I mean, because he doesn't fully understand Regulus's ability as much as he does Sirius at this point. So he thinks Sirius is the bigger threat. I need to get her out of here.
Yeah.
Because if we hurt her, everyone else gets hurt. Now, there's also one more detail I'm going to have to mention here. Some people may think this is a plot inconsistency. Why is Sirius so happy to see Petalgeese again, who she thinks Subaru is, but lets him get injured so badly to the point of death? Do you know how she mentions that she knows he's a spirit? She likely also knows about his function to possess other people's bodies.
Yeah.
So in her mind, even if that physical body dies, he will be fine.
I tried to act it out as best as I could, but you could see like Sirius's personality there. Like she doesn't necessarily care about like she wants to like give back all the angst feelings.
It's not about
it's a mutual experience between both of us.
It's really weird because it seems to her that she doesn't want it to be a mutual thing. She mentioned previously, she turns her authority off for Subaru, manually turns it off for him. She doesn't want her feelings to come across to him. Which means she doesn't want to she doesn't want that thing to be given back.
She doesn't want to influence his feelings, like through her authority.
I'm with Gold. It feels like
it's more like she wants to monopolize Geese, if that makes sense.
I'm kind of with Gold for the fact, and this is just my opinion, just for the sake, it feels like they're, as we talked about with underlying hints, like all the witch cult members still are, they'll say something that has some truth to it, they just don't use it in complete ways. This feels like the only genuine part about her love is the fact that she doesn't want to force the mutual affection, she's trying to earn it, and every time she talks, she's talking as if she's trying to earn it. She'll talk about like, oh my gosh, you're so diligent, you've done such an amazing job. It's a bunch of praises to try to get him to praise back. Now, there's probably some more plot, evidence as you brought up as well. I'm sure that's still a part of it. But it does seem like she's genuinely just trying to get his emotions. The issue is she doesn't care how far it goes. Like, she'll go nuts, as we've seen already, almost attacking a little girl. Because
she's a very fanatical towards Geese.
One point I kind of want to bring up is the fact that, like, she also wants to punish Geese for, like, what, like, she's perceived. Yeah, like what she's perceived as like what he's done to her. So like obviously her like love and also hatred is like so intense for Betelgeuse. Like it's both at the same time, it's like a lot of conflicting emotions. So like when she's like, punishing him like Subaru, it's like, this is for all you've done to me, but I still love you though. Like That's her like her mindset. You know, it's like
Geese went to the elf club. She's mad he didn't come back.
Wait, why do I feel like Geese doesn't actually like know her because in the flashback she just wasn't there?
I don't know, but she said that they were together for like a century.
A century.
Yeah.
And
Like I feel like that's a lie.
That
But
year
I don't
gap
know.
has been the longest that they've never seen each other for. in
Maybe it's
her
not a
head.
lie. Maybe she's just exaggerating a bit, like one of those like Hinata situations with Naruto, where she's like, "Oh, I was in the room with him," but she was like over in a corner somewhere.
Yeah,
in the
it could be.
Phoenix here.
Or it could be the fact that she was just one of his many followers, and then that's just sort of like her
Oh,
fanaticism.
like in the flashback, she was like in the background with the hood on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's one of her
same Beetlejuice Kun. That's how that happened.
Did you also
Well
notice
started.
in a couple chapters back, she brought up how she like tore open the other vessels looking for geese? So
Yes.
like
She killed all the fingers.
she killed all the fingers. It's kind of batshit.
The remaining cultists that remained after all that happened. she
Yeah.
killed.
Kind of want a novel between the two of them. I just need, but I need
my
them as
God, no.
dramatic as
Yeah.
possible. I want like a school romantic comedy, but it's their exact characters the way they are. I want the whole thing.
That'd be crazy.
I want her to go on the full rant.
A full rant, dude. I'm okay.
I want the confession. They're up at the roof, and then she's like, "Beetlejuice, I have something to tell you," and then just a full spiel, and his face doesn't change from that stupid smile for the entire time.
I would just like also to say one more time, thank you, Parbo, for that amazing art.
Yeah,
It's
fucking hell.
so good.
This is really good.
Captures the scene so well.
When I
Hey, serious. I love Satella.
Satella. When
Nutella.
when Kiki was about to read that line, I was like, I'm going to cry. Legitimately.
Yeah, Kiki, your delivery was amazing.
I'm sorry if I made you cry.
Oh, wait till
It's your
tomorrow.
fault.
Yeah, tomorrow. Oof.
Oh god, yeah. Oh,
Oh boy.
It'll be
Oh,
a
no.
serious affair.
fuck you.
Oh no!
Ah.
Also, Regulus has now taken 2 females away from Subaru. Big sad.
What a Chad!
He's not on his
Mr.
level.
Girl.
Regulus got isekai too, but he was from a different
Actually,
anime.
yeah, this is true.
He's
Subaru,
a
doesn't-
Saiyan.
Subaru has no idea Regulus was there
Yeah.
when Rem got attacked.
Yeah.
He has no idea.
Oh, this
He
man has
took
ruined
my
his life
girl.
twice.
Well, no, it's because the only reason why that Subaru even knew that Gluttony was there was because of Puck.
Puck mentions
That little
yeah,
piece
Puck
of
mentions
shit.
Gluttony.
Yeah.
But they neither of them could know that Greed was there at all.
My
He's
Rem.
there. And everybody else who could have told him wouldn't know.
Oh,
Yep.
Lightning, this is also your debut chapter. Welcome to the crew.
Hey,
Welcome
guys.
to the
Hot
crew.
shot, hot shot.
LightningEagle. I'm a Genshin Impact YouTuber who does anime stuff sometimes. I hope you
Nice.
guys enjoy my voice. And by that I mean I hope I'm not dyslexic while reading this.
Oh,
Yay!
I am. Why do you think I'm playing
Hey,
Julius?
Lightning!
The only time I'm changing my profile picture from Frederica, and I know you're happy about this. Pain.
We are currently on chapter 27. This is the last chapter we're reading for today. We've been going for 3 hours nearly, so probably going to be a 4-hour stream at the absolute most. But this chapter is relatively short. If you meant what
Okay,
chapter I'm at, I'm only on chapter 30 at the end. That's all I know about. So next week we're going back into blind reactions, boys. Yeah. All right. Kiki, are you fine narrating this one?
Yeah.
Yee. Is everybody ready to go?
Let's
Ready.
do this.
Let's
Yo,
do or
start
die.
from 0, boys. All right. Zirokata. Or actually, give us the. Oh, what's up, Wolf?
Would it be possible if I could narrate the first section of this chapter? Because it
Where do
makes
you want
sense for
to?
me.
Where do you want to split off then? Or do you want to? Hold on.
As soon as I get dialogue.
So
that's-
page 120 or 51, I guess. Right? Is where. Oh no, Subaru
It's,
has a line here.
it's literally after that first line of
So do you
dialogue.
just want to read the first page of narration, then swap it, or
Yeah,
up
Yeah,
until?
the first page narration along with the paragraph after, and then the hey, like when it says hey.
Do you think it would
Okay.
be possible for you to like improv you changing it from your perspective into like monologue instead of it being in a third person?
Yeah, as long as I don't get so rather than his, in my, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
So are
yeah,
we
that's
still
fine.
swapping, or what are you guys doing?
We're swapping
Yeah, we're
it
swa-
once the third Subaru
It
line.
makes
Gotcha.
sense for this.
Gotcha.
Okay, y'all can Me when I need to start narrating.
So you see the first line of dialogue where it says "Hey" there.
Yeah.
In the second page. After that, you can start narrating.
Okay, cool.
Oh, that word tinnitus, the word I couldn't read when I read this over. Awesome.
We don't talk
about
that.
Okay. Whenever you guys are all set, just give me the green light. I will mute the hell out of myself and we can get started.
Ready.
Okay, ready? Perfect. Arc 5, Chapter 27. Noise. A piercing sound. Abrupt. Vibrating. Heavy. Empty. Distant. Nearby. The vibration was in my nearby vicinity. Sound coming from my eardrums shook my skull, travelling through my bones to the tip of my limbs. The flow of my blood dulled, as my blood vessels were infected by an inflow of sludge. My organs were sluggish, as if filled with clay, and oxygen did not reach my brain, leaving my thoughts foggy and unreliable. That heavy echoing showed no signs of relenting, making me feel as if my eyeballs were rolling around aimlessly behind my eyelids. The sensation in my body was very slow. I felt tired and unable to move, accompanied by nausea and sluggishness. I opened my eyes. Slowly, the darkness I had become used to faded, giving place to a sudden white light, which my eyes were unable to accept. In that white light, forms and shapes moved about, as if children had cast paint everywhere in a room of white. Such emotions became distant, as the world I saw gradually settled down. Everything became distant as I entered a calm world, and after tens of seconds, my eyes were restored to their original state. As darkened rooms and dirty ceilings opened, I felt the breaths of many bodies around, and keeping busy in my surroundings. People moving around in order to keep the surroundings busy, and their bodies.
Hey, bro, you're awake.
Ears ringing with tinnitus, Subaru was attacked by a sudden sound with an unnecessary amount of strength. It has sounded with such volume that the people who had been busy in his vicinity stopped moving, their eyes focusing on the source.
Get here, young lady. Over here. Everyone else keep working. Sorry, but keep working. We're fighting against time.
Really, Meow, you're annoying. People need quiet here, so quickly get back to work.
With a bow of his head, the large being apologized for his loud voice. An angry young woman, no, a young man approached the beastman with a dog's head and spoke with a Kansai dialect. Wearing a revealing dress fit for a woman, a blood-stained Pyrrhixz looked down at Subaru with a sigh of relief.
Now that you've woken up, do you understand the situation? Actually, can you speak right now?
Pyrrhixz?
Yep, it's everyone's favorite fairy-chan. You're Natsuki Subaru-kyun, and we're at a field hospital right now since you were heavily injured. Got it?
Pyrrhixz quickly explained the situation to a hoarse Subaru. Reluctantly, his brain digested his speech word by word. Looking around, Subaru identified his surroundings. At least, he noticed that he was lying on a simple bed made of pieces of cloth. And in fact, as Pyrrhixz had said, the surroundings looked like a field hospital. Around him, people lay writhing in pain, awaiting treatment like Subaru's. The smell of blood and miserable whispered cries. Just healing magic could not keep up. He could see that wounds had been sewn together by needles and threads.
What? What the hell is this?
Looks like you're still confused. Slowly, try to remember what happened before you fainted. If you recall, you'll find the answer.
Pyrrhix's words were not gentle, but that was not because of his mood. Rather, he had no energy to spare for gentleness. His sleeves were rolled up, and his white skin and face were stained with blood. Imagining just how much work Pyrrhixz, a first-rate healer, had on in the face of this tragedy was not difficult, and the cause of this tragedy was...
The witch code.
Really, those guys are the worst. My understanding of them was too naive. I never expected them to pull something like this. Of course, no one else was expecting that either.
Remorsefully biting his lips, Pyrrhixz lowered his chin at Subaru. The regret that made Pyrrhixz tremble was painfully clear to Subaru. Although Subaru understood that, there were other uncertainties. There were other things he needed to check.
Emilia! What happened to Emilia? Is she here? Bastard greed. The Sin Archbishop took Emilia. Then,
He spoke those last words with a tremor, because he knew what he had been right to be anxious. In Pyrrhizz's lowered gaze and silence, Subaru found a clear answer. At the very least, Emilia was not here. Then, if his impression before passing out was correct, she had been taken by Regulus.
And Beatrice?
Beatrice-chan?
Yes! The little girl who was with me. She has an arrogant, adorable face. And curly twin brows. What about Beatrice?
Emilia had more than likely been abducted by Regulus. Judging from Regulus's attitude, the likelihood that he would hurt Emilia was low, although that was uncertain. Although he could not be forgiven, that was the case for the time being. But what had happened to Beatrice? Sirius and Regulus had both been present, and Sirius had held a strong hostility towards Beatrice. Since Subaru has been safely carried to the field hospital, they have escaped from Sirius. So, who had protected Subaru?
Hey, please, tell me. Beatrice?
Not finding an answer to his unease, Subaru desperately sought an answer from Pyrrhixz, who closed his eyes. Standing next to him, a giant beastman closed his eyes. Ricardo, the captain of the Iron Fang, who was looking at his side. Following his line of sight, Subaru widened his eyes.
Beatrice.
Lying away from the people receiving treatment was a lone maiden in a dress. Seeing her not moving at all, in a makeshift bed like his own, Subaru lifted the towel covering his stomach and attempted to run towards her. However, halfway to his feet, severe pain crippled him. On top of that, his right leg stopped obeying him, and his posture broke down completely. His head was heavy with fatigue, and he could not understand why he was unable to right leg. Hurrying to take a look, the horror of his own leg left Subaru speechless.
Oh.
Subaru-kun would have lost a foot without Beatrice's healing magic. You'll have to thank that kid later.
Subaru's right leg was missing about half of its flesh, and was quite obviously in a poorer condition compared to his left. The wound was also wrapped in several layers of thick bandages, and a board had been fixed to his heel. All those has caused him to lose his balance. He could not help but brush it with his fingers, and in that moment, a bolt of realization struck him.
I remember!
The consequences of Regulus's last blow before his departure. Before taking Emilia, he spoke nonsense and kicked the ground up as easily as he could kick sand, and that soil had poured on Subaru's leg. At that moment, Subaru's right leg had been wounded, as if mauled by a wild animal's claws, and that had resulted in the present state of Subaru's right leg.
I stumbled upon the scene. Your leg looked like it was only connected by a piece of flesh and skin. That crying little miss desperately healed you before we got proper healers.
After that, Subaru was carried here and treated by Fairy-chan. Although Fairy-chan's treatment cannot guarantee that your leg will be the same as before, now the bones and nerves are linked, and the flesh is regenerating, so you have to rest.
Crossing his arms, Ferris made a cross, prepared to deal with Subaru's reluctance. However, Subaru obeyed in silence. His attention focused on Beatrice's bed, as Ferris sighed in relief. A large hand supported Subaru's shoulders, hooking around it like a worm, and...
As for getting you to that little miss, I can handle it.
Sorry about this.
No worries.
Thank you.
Ricardo moved Subaru's entire bed near Beatrice's. From there, Subaru leaned forward to take a better look at her. Immobile, the little girl was sleeping so quietly that Subaru could not even hear her breathing. Even though she was a spirit, Beatrice slept like a human. Unlike Puck, she could not dematerialize into an anchor, so this was how she reduced the burden of her materialization of her mana. For this reason, seeing Beatrice's sleeping face was hardly uncommon for Subaru. Only, this was the first time he had seen her sleeping quiet, to the point it nearly looked like she was dead.
She's just sleeping. Right? Still, I'm worried.
Sleep isn't the right word. Right now, she's lost her function as a spirit. A state of suspended animation might be closer.
Suspended animation? Why?
Touching Beatrice's forehead, he was surprised to find how low her temperature was. Brushing her adorable eyelashes from her face yielded no reaction, just as Ferris had reported. In response to the look on Subaru's face, Ricardo squatted down.
According to that cat-eared lady, this happened because she overused her mana. That's all there is to it. I found you in the square by complete accident, bro. Everyone there pretty much had the same injury, which the little miss was taken care of on her own.
Ricardo spoke with a sigh, leaving Subaru silent for a while. Injured people with the same wound as Subaru. That was the result of sensorial sharing. The injury Subaru had gotten from Regulus was propagated to everyone else, which had been Sirius's doing. The mad woman seemed to have left the scene, and Beatrice's fight began there. She had given equally thorough treatment to Subaru and everyone else who had been wounded. Of course, Subaru was a greedy man who asked too much, and the child who accompanied that Subaru likewise refused to give up anyone. So Beatrice had squeezed out every last drop of her mana to save all those people at a heavy price.
Beatrice is fine, right? She just needs a little rest.
To be honest, I'm not too optimistic. Fairy Chan is a first-rate healer, but doesn't know much about spirits. And this child is no ordinary spirit either, right? So I don't really know any real solutions.
There has to be a way! I have to help Beatrice!
Only a year has passed. He had told her he would free her from the library in order to bring her happiness. Beatrice was an existence that could not be allowed to end here. Happiness, happiness, happiness. No one deserves happiness more than this child. She must be happier than anyone else.
Problem is that she ran out of mana, right? Can't she get it from somewhere else? If Bro's her contract, she should just be able to get some from him, right?
You idiot, Subaru-kyun. His gate is fractured, so I can't deliver mana from somewhere else. The quickest way to do that would be to send mana through Subaru-kyun.
Right. Boko fruits. What if we had Boko fruits? With those I could store my own mana? And I could give some to Beatrice!
You idiot!
Ferris snapped angrily as he glared at the desperate Subaru, who looked up. He was surprised at that unexpectedly sharp reprimand, and Ferris immediately put on a fiddling, shy demeanor.
How many times have I said this? That's really dangerous for Subaru-kyun's body. In fact, it would be like poison. If you did that, we'd just end up with 2 casualties. So you can't.
Ferris's strict words were tinged with sadness. Reading that sincere thought, Subaru closed his mouth and swallowed his reckless judgment. Ferris was an expert in healing, So he had, of course, considered a myriad of ways to help Beatrice. Subaru's sudden thought must have already been considered.
I can understand Subaru's worry about Beatrice-chan. And although I understand, there's nothing we can do for her right now. There are many other things that we have to worry about besides just that girl.
Beatrice. Right. There's Amelia too.
Ferris's words snapped Subaru back to reality. He turned his attention to the field hospital and found that something was off. There were people with wounded right legs, the same injury as Subaru, but there were also plenty of people with different injuries.
How's the situation? No. What else has happened? What's with all the injuries?
Send our bishops to the witch cult are here like you said, bro.
But it can't just be them, right? I only saw 2 archbishops. This level of damage can't be enacted by just 2 people. In other words, they've brought the fodder cultists too.
2 people with overwhelming power had been the first notice of the threat, so Subaru had simply assumed that the 2 archbishops would be the only cultists present. But it was only natural that, as Pedalkeys did, they had brought underlings to the city as well. That was the only possible explanation for such damage.
The 2 archbishops and the cultists under them are the ones who are attacking the city right now?
On this matter, there are a variety of...
Ferris's voice was bitter as he began to answer Subaru's. However, before she could confirm or deny it, from a direction he had never imagined came an unexpected interruption. That was...
Yahoo! Yahoo! Yahoo!
The space rang with the sound of a high-pitched... The voice's relaxed tone contrasted sharply with the somber atmosphere, as if someone had accidentally turned into a television channel showing an entertainment program during a serious conversation.
What?
Hearing the sound, Subaru looked around wildly, and, unable to find the owner, he immediately realized its source. Subaru's immediate impression of the sudden voice was that it sounded like it had came from a loudspeaker or radio, a thought that mirrored morning.
The city's broadcasting magic device?
Hello, all you meat creatures! No matter how many times you've heard it, does my beauty and my lovely voice excite you?
As if verifying Subaru's idea, the voice appeared again, being broadcasted by a magic speaker. That voice rang with childlike cruelty, like a girl who scorned etiquette and trampled on conventional manners of speech. Her sharp laughter seemed able to pierce right into one's mind, causing both mental and physical aversion.
What a stupid voice. This is...
Hush, Subaru-kun. Quiet.
Ferris straightened his ear with one finger and put another over her mouth. A serious Ferris seemed to be completely absorbed, and Ricardo wore a vigilant expression. The bedridden injured all clapped their hands over their ears, sobbing. Apparently, this does not seem to be the first time they have heard it.
Alright, you meat creatures enthralled by a beautiful girl's enticing voice, I have news for you. We're all tired, so we're going home now. Just kidding! The true tossing and turning of day and night starts now!
A harsh, squeaky voice, like a mirror next to the ear being scratched with sharp claws, filled with sadistic glee. What was this voice? What was this woman? Forehead dripping with cold sweat, Subaru was well aware of his body's abnormal condition. As Subaru's mind struggled to catch up, his body had noticed something unusual.
Setting aside my funny, laugh-inducing joke, let's continue on with the news. As I just said just now, the city has been occupied by us. You're all caged birds. No, you're all insects in a cage for insects.
Repeated, malicious, high-pitched laughter. One which belonged to an evil presence, which despised others and found vicious delight in trampling upon their existence. Subaru knew this kind of presence better than anybody.
Wait. You idiots can't understand the real meaning of my precious words. Poor incompetent fools, only thinking about slabs of meat and mating in their free time. My gentle, loving self will make this easier to understand. I'll tell you with my spit, which you masochists love. Insects in a cage can't do anything about their owner's mood. The most you can do to please us is to lie fearfully in your cage. When we're in a bad mood, you can only tremble in fear as we tear your wings or legs off. When I bring you honey, I'll be like your mother, gently stroking your heads. That's why.
In the face of that constant viciousness, Subaru imitated Ferris and the others, and listened silently. A breath, a word, and muddy feelings in his chest accumulated as Subaru sealed his will with iron. And then he noticed. He noticed it. What was that?
Later, we'll have more to ask of you, scum. You wear desperately ugly expressions, cry that you don't want to die, don't want to die, don't want to die, don't want to die, and think of ways to emerge from the crowd and give us aggressors what we want. In that case, my continent-renowned kindness might make me consider setting down the cage in my hand. Isn't that really easy to understand?
With excitement, the speaker clapped, stomping her feet from her seat. Her speech, her attitude, her voice. Subaru found them all unbearably irritating. But that was not the problem at hand. From the beginning, he could hear that sound. He had thought that it came the same room as that magic device being used in the broadcast. Faintly accompanying that woman's voice was a sound that had reached Subaru. However, he was unsure of what exactly that sound was. What was still worse was that he had almost, but not quite, reached the answer. Unknowing, unaware, unwitting. He concentrated. He heard his noisy heartbeat, the noisy flow of his blood. Reject and understand. Reject and understand. A very faint buzzing sound, like the flapping of a myriad insect wings. He was very close, infinitely near the right solution. Although close, he was not quite there. A plume of flapping feathers. That was the noise that seemed to be mixed into the broadcast. Many magical phenomena were unclear to Subaru, so perhaps it was just his imagination. But Subaru's common sense felt that something was off. A sense of discomfort rose. That sense of violation and the sound of those feathers were stuck in Subaru's mind and did not leave.
And that's the end for my precious words. Perverted meat creatures and insects should work their hardest. Like I've said earlier, us aggressors taking control of the 4 towers that operate the waterways in the city. So I think it's best that you don't try anything weird. I can't bear to see a drowned human being's dead face because it's unbearably ugly.
That cruel, high-pitched laughter was interrupted as the sound faded. The sound of wings was gone as well. Subaru could finally disengage his body, and he immediately flew over to Ferris and Ricardo.
What did you think of that broadcast just now?
What I think of it, our limbs were mercilessly taken and we've been reduced to just a head. That's how Fairy Chan sees this.
A bitter Ferris bit down on his nails, replying to a Subaru, who frowned. Various places had become stages, for the purpose of being seized by the enemy.
So, just now, that was the witch cult?
Listen, Subaru. The first broadcast came while Subaru-kun was sleeping. This is the second one. During the first broadcast, they called themselves the Sin Archbishop of the Witch Cult, representing lust.
Ferris paused, looking unsure of whether he should continue. Subaru, ignorant of the reason for his hesitation, tilted his head. The common practice among archbishops of the witch cult was to first announce their sin. Only after that, their name would be conveyed. The witch cultist's sin archbishop of Lust, the third archbishop that Subaru had not imagined was present. Her name was...
Although this is disgusting, and Fairy Chan doesn't believe it in the slightest, this is a name that was given.
Ferris prefaced it, sharing his opinion that the credibility of the testimony he was about to repeat was very low.
Capella Emirata Lugunica. Although it couldn't be. It's the name of royal family.
And with that, we end off Arc 5, Chapter 27. Can we just... God damn it, Jace. Holy fuck.
Good at doing evil villain voices. We have so many.
Oh my god.
At that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yo, are you sure the police didn't are you sure your neighbors didn't call the police on that? Holy crap.
Oh my god.
I'm hoping my
Jace, I have fucking goosebumps the entire time, and the wings.
Shit.
Oh my god.
Good job.
Guys, we made it to the end. 5 chapters.
We
We did it.
Yay.
We've had...
Covering me, Kyles. I had to take a phone call.
That's okay. I follow along just in case.
Guys, we've had 200 viewers since the second chapter. Consecutive.
We've
I
done.
know, it's amazing.
I think
Holy
we all can
fuck.
pat ourselves on the back today. We did really well.
I sat here the whole time,
Well done,
Pog.
everyone.
No stream problems. Yes.
So I'm
Even with the fire alarm.
I'm surprised.
Damn.
I'm surprised because I put the stream on ultra low latency, which should make it lag more, but it's not. So hey, Pog.
Question to you that probably won't help as much. Do you have a little fan underneath your
Yeah,
Mac?
I
On my
actually
old
do.
laptop, I bought a.
It's on like a coolant stand. So
That's
yeah.
what I make sure.
You should put Kanda in the credits for Sirius as well.
Fuck off.
You guys are checking his credits. Are you guys just doing this to him right now?
I really enjoyed narrating that first part there.
Holy
What I might end
It
up
was
doing
good.
for other parts that are like that in the future, I might read ahead, note them down, so I can do that again. Because I think doing that from the first person
Okay,
was really good.
I gotta ask Jace, how's your voice
Was
feeling
nice.
right now after screaming
are
like
you
a
okay,
lunatic?
Yeah, you okay?
Oh yeah, I am drinking a lot of tea right now.
Cool.
Hopefully I don't lose my voice tomorrow.
He made some milk.
I would have screamed louder if I didn't have if I had any water, but I don't have any water, so I couldn't scream as loud as I wanted.
It's fine.
Jace, I have a
Also,
question.
Our chat's really down bad, by the way. My god, you guys are awful.
I know every
I'm glad I couldn't read chat.
sign of the cross.
I just wanted to say also give a round of applause for Sylvan because he did take over the music while I was acting.
Yeah.
Yay!
W for Sylvan. W's.
W's. Holy shit! This was a hype reading.
Look at all the Sin Archbishops. They're all together, and they all sound amazing. All voiced by amazing voice actors.
They're all really good. Yeah.
Only for you, chat. Only for you.
Had so much today of just great evil villain monologues. Jace,
Why
were you
are-
doing poses while you
Hold
were doing
on.
the voices? Were you going ah?
Why is everyone calling
mean,
Capella
stand out.
mommy? Why? Why? Stop!
It's-
Cease!
Actually, that's a spoiler. Oh.
Oh, stop, Kanda!
Oh God,
said
no!
Who said that?
Oh god.
Oh my god!
Oh my god.
How would Capella
made
do an
it so
Ulu? Capella would
I
just
don't want to
scream.
know. I don't want to know.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I need to wash my ears.
So is Capella
Yeah, watch
that
that with some
is Capella
RRs.
that stinky that she has a bunch of flies that just swarm? Like whenever
No,
she...
spoilers. I still can't talk about it.
I guess it's not. Yeah, I guess it's a spoiler technically.
Well, yeah,
That-
I'm
that's
just
foreshadowing.
throwing fun at it at this point.
No
Yeah, I know.
information. We gotta wait till tomorrow. Make them wait.
Holy
I'm
fuck,
waiting.
you guys better be here tomorrow. Let me tell you. You guys better be here
No.
tomorrow.
What's going on
Tomorrow's
tomorrow?
gonna hurt.
Gorgeous tiger.
Oh.
Oh, I'll need a
no,
practice.
no, no.
Poggers.
I'm gonna need help
I'm
switching
gonna
my
cry.
name tomorrow.
We have a post meeting
Oh.
after this, don't we? To
Yes.
practice.
Yeah.
Mama.
Oh,
Gorgeous Tiger?
Me and Kanda
Yes.
need to speak as well.
All right.
Mama.
I'll need all the
Olo.
commentary I can get.
Half my fucking stream
Oh,
chat right
God.
now is Mama. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Mama.
Everyone's like, "Mommy, mommy,
being
mommy
wild
milkers."
Mommy
Oh,
milkers,
God.
stop, leave, goodbye.
She does not have any mommy milkers. All right, get out of here.
Chat, chat, relax, darn it.
Down.
My God, down
Bad.
bad. Oh, so she's the Sin
Ugh.
Archbishop of
All
Loss.
right, delete that
Okay.
bystander.
What
Bonk.
what comment am I
severely.
deleting?
What is this chat?
Chat needs a hobby.
And
Chat
Jace,
needs
you were
many hobbies.
worried about Sims yesterday.
Holy shit!
Welcome.
Welcome to the club, Jace. Wait till they start throwing money at the stream specifically for
Oh.
Capella.
No,
Should
they
you
right.
should you bring up a image of Capella on stream?
Is that a spoiler or no? If I show her.
Oh, I guess it is. I guess it
It's
is.
a
now.
spoiler.
Technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll let
And make them wait.
we'll let their mind wander at what she looks like.
Yeah, yeah. What could she possibly look like? I wonder. She's the Archbishop
Just
of
an
Lust.
insect now, is she?
She
She-
does.
insect.
Jace definitely doesn't have a profile pic of her.
She's totally an insect.
You're
man.
right. Shit.
Don't look! Don't look!
That
Don't
doesn't
look!
give
We
everything
were
away.
bad. We planned poorly.
No, this stream actually went really fucking well. Don't
Oh
even
yeah,
talk
went
about that
really
crap.
fucking well.
Yeah, really well.
Bunch of lolicons.
I was very happy with
Oh
it.
my god.
So
Your thing didn't crash this entire time.
I'm so fucking shocked because the assholes next to me were like drilling the wall. And I was like, my god, if you fucking knock out power again, I will cry. Please don't.
Oh,
I'm sorry I wasn't there for the first chapter.
You're fine.
What happened was it was impossible for me to sleep last night, and I was like, I'll just stay up until the
Oh
reading.
no,
And then
Gold.
it was like 11 at my time, and I was just like, I've been up for like 18 hours, and I was like, I'm gonna take a quick nap. Please wake me up in like an hour or so. I said to my parents. And then, like, literally, like, 2-3 hours later, like, oh yeah, I forgot to wake you up.
Shit.
I was like, oh my god.
We're just gonna mass ping you at this point.
No.
Yeah, my bad. I'll
keep
get
your
it. I'll get it.
phone on.
I'll get it together. It's just
No. Tomorrow,
few
I don't
weeks.
think you have
Fine.
lines.
Oh, tomorrow will be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I think Felix talks.
Oh, that's right. Felix does talk. Yes, but it's 7.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, Wooloo? You missed Jay screeching into their mic.
I didn't. I actually did listen to a little of it,
Oh,
and I
shit,
have to
nice.
say, Jace, you were amazing.
Wait, did my mic peak though?
I was keeping.
But it does not matter.
I was keeping an
No.
eye.
Does not
I was
matter.
keeping an eye on it, and I was dipping and racing you. So
yeah, because it was perfectly fine.
Mhm.
You did
such a good
amazing.
job.
your
being a
laugh.
character.
So
It's terrifying.
on OBS,
Jace,
when you were
that
doing
laugh-
the
that laugh
it
was
peaked
amazing.
pure red, and I was like, "Fuck!" and I dipped you down.
Pure unadulterated red. I had to take a moment.
How do you do that? My fucking god. Okay, Kanda. Okay.
Well, haha.
We should just go in a
If
line.
you wanna,
I suppose.
Go down in a line. we
Oh
all
wait,
try
guys,
to
we
laugh.
should announce what we're using the donos for now from these streams.
Yes,
Since people-
yes. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
perfect time
Hello,
to-
everyone.
I can't wait to tell you guys.
I'm the head of the Hoshin company, HollowGraphic YT. We're going to be using the donation money that we get from these streams to put them towards custom artwork for future readings so that we have more visuals to show you guys as we're going along. We've recruited 5 artists now: Willow, Pabo, Swoljita, Cedric, and Speaker Illustrations. So, yeah, anything that you guys donate from these streams will be going straight to that pool for commissions. We're in for a long ride, but we have some plans in the work right now. This project is
Yay.
expanding more. Donate your life savings.
how many more chapters do we have in this
Probably
arc?
not a great idea.
In total,
Donate to
Gold,
the Hoshin company.
We're
Yeah.
like a third in. Like a
54. We have 54
Okay,
left.
54 left. Okay, we're a third in.
We're getting close to halfway.
Why are people debating Capella's breast size in the
Just
chat?
ignore it. I was trying to ignore it.
Don't
Jace,
bring up
ignore it.
Don't,
Oh.
Every
Okay.
chat
Jace,
crazy
God
like this,
damn it.
Don't read it.
Take it.
She's not even on the breast chart list.
Well, when you measure,
Don't
no,
say-
I'm
just
joking.
stop reading. Don't stop responding. Change the subject. Pick something
So,
else.
Can we not talk about this?
So Teresia likes
Welcome to
flowers.
being a waifu.
Yeah, she does. Oh my god.
Flowers are
You know she
cool. I
has
like
red
flowers.
Okay, wait, hold on,
Okay.
chat. Hold on, chat. I need to know right now, do you guys want a full emote set of all the Sin Archbishops for channel membership? Put a W in chat if you want to. I'm going to drop some money today. I'm going to go broke. Let's do it.
Uh-oh.
Emotes can you get?
I have been asked by chat, is Capella a fire truck? And as a
Oh my
lovely
god,
reference to
sea
the Reader
tactics!
podcast,
Pog!
Capella is indeed a fire truck, and Regulus is a shotgun.
Oh my god, people who aren't even channel members are putting W. Okay. Have you considered becoming a channel member and supporting the Hoshin company?
You can join by pressing join. The button's right next to the
Coco was
subscribe
messaging
button.
me and she was like, I'm so sorry, I can't hit the join button. And I'm like, you're fine. Go to sleep, Coco.
Everyone who's able to, press the join button because soon we'll have amazing rewards like new emotes that are going to be commissioned by Hollow, and members of the community are going to make those emotes. Am I correct?
I didn't realize that the more channel members you have, the more slots you get for emotes. So
yes, just like Twitch.
It's like a Twitch thing.
Yeah,
so Twitch works.
As of right now, I think we're at a 12 slot limit, and I think if we hit 100, it's like 20 or so.
So chat, here's your chance. You want your waifu to be on an emote? This is what you got to do. You got to join.
Speaka's emotes are goated, dude. They're fucking goated.
Yeah, look at those cute
emotes. Great, yes.
Speaker illustrations makes great emotes, dude. Let me
But
throw.
if you don't have money right now and you want to support,
Take out a
you
loan.
can subscribe and set on the
Share a like
notifications
button.
and like and comment.
Or they can take out a
I
loan.
suppose.
They can take out a loan. That works too.
Or tell your parents you need $5 for this month.
right now.
Oh my god.
Kiki has offered to help with the emotes, I suppose.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Welcome
I've
to
actually
Royal
been doing
Guards.
some email recently.
Oh my god, we're supporting Kiki too. Bog.
Have you
Yes!
supported Kiki?
Let me.
Kiki.
Do you love me? Are you riding?
God, I'm going to leave this trash in our chat.
I'm so sorry.
Hey.
It always happens sometimes.
That's just like #1 victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we back. You see this chat?
He always starts it. He always starts it.
You see this chat? You see this emote of Teresia? That's what you'll get. That's the quality. You see that?
The Royal Guards.
Oh, they have a quintessential quintuplets PFP. I don't know who that is though. I don't watch the show.
That's Itsuki. Wow.
Can I explain the different tiers when joining? If you want to give me $10, you can be a witch. You want to give me $5, you can be. I don't upload videos anymore, my guy. So the rewards are kind of obsolete. Besides emotes right now.
Yes, and we're doing a lot of streams, so that's
Wink, wink,
good.
nudge, nudge.
Yeah,
Loving
welcome.
your subtlety there, Gold.
Guys, if we continue for like 10 more minutes, this is gonna be like a 4-hour stream.
Oh, that's fine. Well,
Hell yeah.
Hey, he's hitting gold.
28 minutes
Get that
actually.
Watch time.
It's gonna be 4 hours.
Hollow, the theoretical YouTuber. Indeed, Sylvan, indeed.
I mean,
He'll eventually be a YouTuber.
this is a lot to manage already.
On average, 3 hours.
Yeah,
We could talk about the chapter because we haven't even talked about the chapter yet.
Yeah, I want to talk
Or-
about the chapter.
And read a chapter.
Hoshin Company. No, I'm joking. We can talk about the chapter.
We can
Kiki, I suppose. You clearly want to talk. Go!
Yes. Because I was actually shocked that another Sinar big ship has arrived at the Water City, and surprisingly, apparently it's the part of the royal family now. So that's kind of shocking.
Yes. Though
we've
I
already
don't believe
mentioned
it.
The other character. We already mentioned one character that was related to the royal family, correct?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, interesting here. Or I guess felt, right? Okay. Interesting to see, is there going to be any, again, whether or not we trust the words of a witch cult member, will there be any family arguments? That would be something I'm looking forward to. We have a little anarchist versus the little anarchist. This is what it sounds like. Seems like we're getting that kind of energy, and that sounds like a great argument or a great fight for later chapters. I'm
The
interested to
Astreas
see.
are wild and
What's happening?
Oh wait, is it the Lagunicas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lagunica
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
So
Lagunica.
fun fact. Isn't there like some cut content from like Arc 3 about the royal family? Oh no, we talked about that already with Felt. Never mind.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the reason why I
yeah, we
specifically
did.
asked.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah, this
forgetting
is,
whether or not we've already said that, and then I'm
Mm.
like, I don't want to say that out loud, and then like I'm
It's
the only one who
quite-
knows, and then oh gosh.
It's quite refreshing to have this arc return to introducing villains like in the present time that are
Right.
like a present threat, because in arc 4 technically yes, Roswell and Echidna are like villains, but they don't really actively do much to impede Subaru's progress other than stuff like behind the scenes and stuff. Now we
Mhm.
have like a lot of villains here that are all have a lot of combat prowess and shit
Right,
that
right.
Subaru's gonna have to deal with in some way. So the stakes are pretty damn high.
We also don't know.
Love in the town.
We also don't know why they're there in the first place. Why there's
Yeah,
three
that's the
Sinarch
thing,
bishops
right?
there too.
It's kind of confusing, right?
Noun that should
Kind
be
of weird.
Kind of sus.
There was a moment in one of the chapters where both Regulus and Sirius like pulled out their books at the same time as if they got like a text notification from their book.
Oh,
I wrote book notifications.
There's one thing that we should
don't
bring
remember
up.
that part, actually.
There's a light novel change in these chapters too. Apparently, Ricardo doesn't exist in the chapter we just read. It's actually Al. So
Wait, I don't exist?
not in this
Yeah,
scene.
no,
Not actually here?
Get the hell out of here.
Get bodied.
Fading away like a Final Fantasy boss. Oh no.
Like any RPG boss, it just disintegrates when it dies.
For some reason. I don't know why, but yes, every time.
I always
It's
think of
supposed to
Chrono.
be-
I was gonna say I
Chrono
always think
snapped.
of Chrono Trigger and how those enemies just disintegrate
Oh my God,
like
Chrono Trigger.
nothingness. Love
I'm just
Chrono
thinking Final
Trigger. Sorry.
Fantasy.
Can we just like also bring up the fact that we kept high intensity this whole reading? 5 chapters. My fucking lord, guys, good job.
I know. We
Good
went
job.
all out.
Definitely emotionally in it.
Hello, I just have one question.
What's up, man?
Is Regulus coming in the next chapter too?
I don't.
Not
believe
next
so.
one. Actually, no, not the
I
next
don't
one.
know.
Not for
Maybe
the
at the
next
very
reading.
end?
Not for the next
No,
reading.
I don't think so. Oh, so it's next one after.
Oh, okay.
You're back next week, I believe.
Okay, that's cool then.
I was curious if Subaru was going to permanently lose his leg for a second. That was like a big thing.
Becomes a
Are they gonna
pirate.
take it away from him?
I love how it's. I think it's like written like, oh, he lost his leg, but then in the next chapter, it's like, well, it's actually was just hanging on just a little bit.
It was
It's the
attached
same
with some
way
Well, I mean, the way
that Karush lost her arm.
like his entire, like almost his entire leg is gone. Like it says half of his flesh,
instead of him
half
just
the flesh of
dying.
his leg is gone.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah,
that's
because
what I
Felix
thought.
or Ferris or whatever, you know, they're good at healing to such an extent that
Right.
they're able to heal
If
even like.
Felix can reattach limb.
arm, then
Felix can reattach
All right,
limb.
guys, let's
Yeah.
play the
Yeah.
passing the talking stick game, one of you at a time, please.
I was saying, is the fact that it's Al like something that's in the web novel and this was a mistake, like in the translation, or is it just in the web novel?
No, it's a
Ricardo?
change. It's a change
No,
from
no,
web
it's a
novel to
change.
light novel.
Okay, because they literally talk in like the same exact faction, so you could honestly just like switch either of them out and it would
Well,
work.
people were saying it made sense because Priscilla was looking for Subaru. Apparently, that's what the comments are saying.
Yeah,
so,
it makes more sense.
yeah.
Hero, get in here.
And they both say bro, so it's like
Bro.
they have this exact way of
Hey,
talking.
bro, get back in here. Come take your time.
Ricardo and Al would probably be like bros. They should interact.
We have a serious question from Chad. Is Capella a lolly? I'm going to say yes based on what I've seen.
Sorta. I
I'm
guess.
gonna go
God.
with that assumption as well.
Just say yes so my
mean-
chat doesn't loot her, please.
I don't know.
They're gonna
honestly.
do it anyways.
will.
Have you
Should've
seen
just
the
said
chat?
yes.
He's like, I don't know, 1,000 years
Please
old.
don't,
Like
please
that.
don't attack Jace, guys, please.
Like you
Did you
just
see
say
how they
yes
treated
and you move
Petra?
subjects.
Oh
That's
god.
it.
Hey,
Don't say all this.
let's
extra.
play
Give
the
some ideas.
let's play the talking stick game. I can't understand anyone is talking.
No,
It's
fuck
been an
you.
exciting
I'll talk when I
chapter, though.
want.
God, okay, well shit. Oh, the rhythm bot's still here too. Does anybody else have
Infringes upon my
anything
rights to speak.
from this chapter? Anybody have anything else to bring up?
The witch cult is like the Illuminati because they secretly control the royal family.
Dun dun dun.
Possible.
Interesting.
You
Can I bring
know,
up something about Subaru's missing leg, actually?
Sure.
I think it would be cool, instead of just returning by death again, what if he permanently like lost his leg? Like a consequence? That wouldn't happen, but I just think that would be kind of cool.
Doesn't that happen?
Just like tell that there's fates worse than death.
Hmm.
And he thinks he's seen the true pit of hell, but he hasn't seen hell yet.
What were you saying, Hollow?
No, isn't there like a game that came out where Subaru has like a fake arm or some shit? Like there's a new game that's
Oh, that's an if in the Lost in Memories.
Oh,
Gotcha
that's
game.
an if? Oh, okay. I don't play
Yeah.
I can't play that game because it's
That-
region locked.
That's the one
I
that came
can't-
out.
I can't read it. I can't read Japanese, so I don't play it
Ha.
anymore.
Laughs in Japanese. No, I can't either probably.
Fuck you.
We're gonna read like 2 sentences of it and go. He walked stairs. Got it.
There's
Yep,
gonna
got
be
it.
one
It's
kanji
rolling.
that's gonna derail my entire life reading that sentence.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's difficult to learn, man. It's fucking difficult.
So this is also
It's
kind
been
of
a
like
pain.
the odd conclusion to the serious loop. It ended pretty morbidly for Subaru. There's Sirius is still there, still a problem. Still gonna have to deal with her somehow. I have no clue how
Yeah,
they're gonna do it.
ironically.
Yeah.
The problem solved itself, kind of. He just had to wait it out.
Regulus just came and was like, nope, mine. Distract the left.
I mean, you're saying that like it's a problem. I mean,
Regulus didn't come in. Maybe
That's
it
true.
had been finished.
Oh my gosh. Again, in the safest town that it should feel like we have all these characters here. We have so many people that Subaru is around and been familiar with.
Right.
And this is still one of the most dangerous situations he's been in. Somebody else, I forgot, was it Kanda or was it Speed? One of you guys brought up the fact that shouldn't somebody else jump in here? But I like the fact that we don't have other people joining here. People are doing other things.
I don't think it would have mattered, honestly.
Factions. Yeah, they have missions. They have things they're going to. It'd just be more mind control. These things happen. In real life, things happen and people aren't aware.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. I think that's very good for the writing. And not everybody just hopping in like the Avengers.
Oh, go ahead, Gold.
I think they're aware now, at the very least. We can assume that. I mean,
yeah.
Felix is.
I mean, after the broadcast, they definitely know.
Yeah, they're definitely aware after the broadcast, of course. Yeah.
So,
but you have to remember that Sirius's attack was completely preemptive. There was
you
there
also
was
have to
no...
keep in mind, because that they're using the broadcast system. If my understanding is correct, that means that they're at the Capitol, right?
They are at City Hall.
They're at City Hall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Kirtaka was at. It was
Yeah.
Liliana. You know, another thing is.
Liliana's dead, please.
It's funny because when they were talking about both Regulus and Sirius, they were like, "This is just our free time. This wasn't even like an operation or anything like that."
So that means that Sirius's attack had no point in the plan. It wasn't something guided by the gospel.
Well, it had a point. She wanted to declare.
Oh no! I know. She wanted to learn more about love. I commit a terrorist.
In the last reading that we did, Gold, I think we brought up the same exact point, kind of like just them on their own is kind of fucking shit up or ruining people's days for no apparent reason on their own volition.
This is the boogeyman that is the witch cult. In reality, they have a reason to fear, in whispers in the universe of ReZero. People of the capital, people of Lagunica, people of wherever else that the witch cult operate, they have reason to be being those witch cult, they're fearful of them.
People have reason to be fucking terrified of the Now, this is something cut, unfortunately.
Is it a spoiler? I swear to God.
No, it's not a spoiler. This is something cut from, I believe it's the interludes of Arc 3. Regulus destroyed an entire city in the country of Valakia. An entire city gone. Just by Regulus' hand.
Wait, that was cut earlier?
Yeah, that was a thing cut. It's mentioned in one of the interludes for Arc 3.
Okay, so fun fact. My first ever video I did on ReZero, somebody put the entire summary to that whole thing in my comment section, and I thought it was a spoiler for later arcs. It's not?
Nope.
Oh,
no,
shit.
This is something that's happened in the past.
So, wait. It's the story where, wherever he would attack, people wouldn't remember because he wouldn't, leave survivors, right?
Survivors, yeah. And the only reason people know about that city being destroyed by him is because he let, I think, one family live or one person live.
I think it was one person, but another thing that we have to kind of take into consideration is if there's multiple witch cultists there, how are they going to collectively fight them? Since each one of them
especially considering with that information knowing that Regulus did destroy an entire city by himself. Including him and all the other Synarch bishops. They're in a fucking precarious situation.
People have to keep in mind
Reinhard can only be in one place at a time as well.
Yeah, people also have to keep in mind that Pyrrhixz was the most infamous and well-known Synarch bishop. Doesn't mean he was the strongest. He's just one that was actively in the world of ReZero. The most
at this point, clearly not. The scaling of power dynamic has gotten so high. We had one who could basically take over an entire nation by mind control, and the other one, as you just described, could just do it because he felt like it. So yeah, this is very, very different of a situation than guy has many hands.
Yeah,
I swear all five.
Man has many
he's
hands.
Still dangerous. Yeah, he's still dangerous, but.
When I was narrating the part where it says it describes Subaru's invisible providence as him having a third hand, I was so tempted to make a joke about Al. Al would be nervous.
Oh my god!
Oh fuck.
Speaking of the
jokes.
the power of the witch cult, did they ever talk about how Betelgeuse has like a second authority?
We're a phantom message about that, I think.
It's not.
We completely
it's
glossed
not
over
called
it.
a second authority. It's known as a secondary authority.
Yeah.
It's essentially it's his ability to possess people. That's what his secondary authority is.
So, like, all of the things that like you kind of hear about, I think. I mean, I'm not too sure about this because this might be wrong. One of the things that was strong about Betelgeuse's ability was his like longevity, like his ability to do things without consequence, because he could just always move to a new body, whatever he wanted to do. You know, something kind of funny is that like you see Betelgeuse's body in like I don't know, like a year ago, right? Like the green-haired one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something that I always wondered is how is that his original body?
I think it's supposed to be his original body, and the reason I think that is not only because it looks the same, but it would make sense that for his body to look so rotten and green means that it's been around for longer than it naturally should.
That means for like 100 years he never used.
So my assumption is so Betelgeuse is a spirit, as we know now, and and when Beatrice mentioned, when it's monologued early on in Arc 5 that Beatrice's body emulates a spirit, the way that seems to come across to me is that in her knowledge of other artificial spirits, no other spirit has that. So I'm assuming the body Geese possesses in the flashback, like 100 years before he gets killed, is someone who offered their body to Geese to use. And so Geese used the contract to inhabit their body. And ever since then, because Geese is a spirit, he can't naturally die. Like, of natural causes. And so he's been inhabiting that body for 100 years because it fits him so well.
Sorry to jump in, but I have got to finish this series so I can talk about this stuff with you guys.
Another thing is, to consider is like archbishops. They are unnatural, obviously, but they all seem to be immortal. Like when you hear about like especially this chapter, you hear Capella Emerata Lagunica, a member of the royal family that is like it's like who? Like this can't be because we know that the royal family has been wiped out. We also know that Regulus has been around for a long time without aging at all. He looks the exact same, and you hear Sirius talk about how she's been with Betelgeuse for over a century. It's like, okay.
I can't speak about this. Fuck! Damn it!
No, I'm saying this because it's a neat thing to think about.
Yeah. When we see more in the future, I'll talk more about this.
I wanted to ask, how terrifying do you think it was for Subaru to either be... Was it worse for him to almost get killed by a witch cultist or have one want to hit on him? Which one do you think was worse for him specifically?
God.
No.
Sirius is just
she was excited.
Sirius is just the fingers put together emote, that like little image of like the fingers going together. That's Sirius when she's like with
I want that drawn.
That's funny, yeah.
Hi, artists in the chat.
Somebody draw a cute Sirius, looking all shy.
I don't think one exists.
With like a blush coming out of her bandages.
Oh my god, are we gonna be the first people to start like a school if, but with the fucking Synarch bishops?
Please
God.
do it. I would love it.
Wait, can you imagine how much of a nightmare that would be? Super goes to school and all the teachers are Synarch bishops or witches. Oh my god.
Regulus, it's your turn to give your essay. Can you please come up and deliver your essay to the class, Regulus?
Oh my god. Regulus. So, literally, if Regulus had like a 1,000-page paper, he'd come in like with those fucking cartoon-style receipts or lists that go out the door for how long they are, and it can be summed up by saying, I like turtles, or something stupid. But it's gonna give like the whole factual history.
Oh, spend 500 extra words first detailing how it is within his rights to share this to the class due to the nature of the class.
Oh, Natsuki Subaru 412 is in the chat. Hello. So Swoljito, what's up?
Hi, Willow.
Pablo's here too.
He's targeting you, artist. He's targeting you.